This episode is dedicated to the memory of Austin Joseph Dundee.
All right, y'all, check it out, man. You got the Iceman himself, Jamie Dundee, and you are listening to What the Whole World Really Wants. Give me back my pro wrestling, man.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
This is Steve Bowtie Bryant here. Back in the 90s, I was a pro wrestling photographer for the South. And I released what might have been one of the original sets of indie trading cards. I ran across some of these original sets. They were up in Randall Fanning's attic all this time. PG-13 rookie card. Ricky Morton, George Weingroff as the Sheik, Chris Champion, Reno Riggins, Billy Montana, Gary Valiant, the Scorpion, the Medic, Rick Reynolds, Jeff Daniels, Mephisto and Dante, Ben Jordan, Steve Neely, Marcus Woodrow, Clinton Charisma, Little Farmer John. If you'd like an opportunity to get these cards, contact me now. You can get them for only $49.99. Contact me at Steve Bowtie Bryant at iCloud.com. Get your set now while supplies last.
Hey, this is Jimmy from the Live and in Color with Wolfie D and Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling podcast. Would you like to also make a podcast? Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easily, then distribute it everywhere, and even earn money, all in one place for free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters, and here's how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer, so no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and everywhere else podcasts are heard. And that's how you're hearing this right now. Video podcasts are also available on Spotify. With Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. And best of all, it's totally free with no catch. Ever since I discovered Spotify for Podcasters, it's made the job of producing multiple podcasts so much easier. I highly recommend you give it a try. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started today.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome one more time to the Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling podcast, and I am here as always with my brother from the same father and mother, the Plastic Sheik, Jared Street. What's up, Sheik? How you doing today?
Man, I'm doing great. Just living life and putting one foot in front of the other, but, you know, it's just the way it goes sometimes.
They say the successful folks in the world do that, from one foot in front of the other.
Yeah, man.
Have not figured that out yet, but yes. So I think you're on the right path.
Good.
Yeah.
I got added a piece to my LJN collection. I got the Sergeant Slaughter mail away.
Action figure.
Big guy. I guess he's considered with the LJN collection. He's the same. The Hasbro knockoff, I guess. Whatever.
Is it a similar feel to the LJN?
Yeah, it's a similar feel. I got to clean it up a little bit. It's not I don't know if it's gonna. If you ever see those Sergeant Slaughter, they have like these here and there, and it's just something in the plastic resin or something. I don't know.
They have these,
but they're like these green little like specks. Like maybe a little bit bigger than like a pin spec or something like that, but they're not everywhere, but they're like here and there. So I don't know. It's almost, I've heard people call it LJN rot before, but I don't know. It's not like it grows really. It's just there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Well,
but almost everyone I've ever seen has it. So
Well, so maybe it's Hasbro, LJN. They even copied it so well they got the rot part of it too.
Yeah.
Man, we got a big show today, Judd, huh? Right?
Man. So we got one half of PG-13 today.
Yeah, and it's not my co-host.
And it's
Wolfie
not the one
D.
you might think, guys.
Right, I know. Yeah, Jamie Dundee. So, I'll just go ahead and say this, listener caution, beware, Some of the words and sentences said during this awesome podcast do not automatically reflect the thoughts and views of Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling. However, Jamie Dundee is awesome, and this show was hilarious and incredible. And I mean, it's like you'll pay for the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge with Jamie Dundee. So very cool, very cool interview. Jamie is just another one of those guys that doesn't need anyone else to be on the show with him. He's a man unto his own. And every time I talk to Jamie, whether it be on any kind of conversation, it's always a treat. And I always leave with my cheeks hurting and my side hurting, so. Yeah.
Yeah. And Jamie is, he's an easy conversation. He, like you said, he didn't need anybody else in the conversation, but it helps to steer the ship a little bit.
Yeah.
But it reminds me of like the Ant-Man movies. The one guy in that, I think it's Michael Pena, is the guy that plays him. It's like, hey, if you put a dime in a jukebox, you got to let it play.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
and it never disappoints.
Right, never. Yeah. No, and I mean, I've interviewed him 3 times. This will be the 3rd time, and every time he's always got something new to say, and it's he is podcasting gold. I'll just say it. Jamie Dundee is podcasting gold. So anyway, I'm excited about that. Of course, we did have Russell County's own, the one and only Iron Cross, right? I mean, that was an awesome episode. That one is quickly climbing the charts, by the way. So don't be surprised if that one's in the top 10 very quickly, because it's moving on up, as the Jeffersons would say. So
yeah, good to talk to a Russell County boy, and he's doing some amazing things through his ministry, and he's been doing that for a while, and he's really found his calling.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He really combined 2 callings, and that's amazing how he's done that.
Definitely so. And if you ever see him on a card, or if he's going to be somewhere, do go out of your way and go see him. He's absolutely worth it. And plus, talk to him. I mean, he's got so many stories. We're definitely going to have him back for part 2 for sure. So. Today, the day that we record this, is Monday. And, unfortunately, there was some bad news that happened today, especially for the Mid-Atlantic family. Ole Anderson died. It's very sad.
When I think of Ole Anderson, a lot of times people think grouchy man or anything like that. But I think the perfect 100% heel.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a heel through and through, and did his job so well. Like most heels, you can find a little bit of that, I guess, that anti-hero in that you can kind of root for. Right. Ole Anderson is one of those you just wanted to boo.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's honestly a lost art. Nobody probably wants to be booed like that, to be honest with you,
right?
Anymore. And that's just amazing that he was always so good at that.
Hey, yeah, amen. And he's one of those you didn't want to boo to his face, because he would beat you up, So
yeah, and you felt like he could beat you up too, like not in the like bodybuilder type of way, like, oh, this guy's gonna rip my head off with his huge muscle, but just like he looked like a man.
Right. Amen. Yeah. Very, 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 very much so. Yeah. Man, there's a lot of stuff going on. I'm trying to think, is there anything else that's happened that we're not thinking of right now, Sheik? Jeez.
All this, got all the stuff with WrestleMania, kind of the pictures kind of cleared up a little bit. You got Sting's last match.
Yeah.
Just around the corner. I mean, I think when this drops, will be just like a couple days before.
Yeah,
So,
Mason, our little brother Mason's going to that. So
going to be there, yeah.
Very cool. I'm sure he's very excited for that. And heck, I would be too. I would, it's sad to say that it's going to end, but it would be cool to be there when it does, So good for, good for you, Mason. He said he's wearing his Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling t-shirt to it. So
nice.
Got to represent, right?
Nice, yeah. You think Sting's going out on his back?
Yeah, I do. I think so. Maybe, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been trying to piece it together. It kind of feels the way they built him. It kind of feels like maybe he shouldn't, but yeah, I know he's kind of an old school guy, and usually that's the way to go is go out on your back. So.
Yeah. I think he will. That's just the way it is, unless they tell him he can't or they give him something that makes more sense. I would imagine that he'll do it, the old-fashioned way, which is the way it should be, So, yeah. But, other than that, I mean, I'm just excited to have our guest on today, the Iceman, Jamie Dundee. You want to go ahead and get him on the line here? You ready?
Let's get it rolling.
All right. Take a shot of espresso or something, and y'all get ready, because after these messages, we'll be right back with the one and only Jamie Dundee on Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
Hey guys, this is Wolfie D from PG-13. Check out my podcast, Live and in Color with Wolfie D, every Monday at noon. We're talking Memphis, we're talking ECW, WCW, WWF, everywhere that I've been. We even have some great guests, some Hall of Famers on the show with us. Every Monday, Live and in Color with Wolfie D.
This is Kroll, and you're listening to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling with Jimmy Street and Jarrett the Plastic Sheik. Be sure to like, subscribe, and view all of our USWO and Saw Wrestling content at Nashville Wrestling Network, exclusively on YouTube.
All right, everybody, welcome back. This is Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling, and we've got a very special guest today. I just can't wait to say it. It's Jamie Dundee, JC
Yes,
Ice, the Iceman. How you doing today, brother?
Man, I'm great, man. I've got my youngest baby girl with me. We went and just got our nails done. We because the cell phone world, just like something happened, and she was like, bless her heart, she was flipping out, and I thought I was gonna have to commit her to a mental institution. Daddy, the phone's not working, the internet's not working, I can't talk to my boyfriend. You know how it is. I mean, you can't talk to your boyfriend at 15. That's the end of the world, bro. Hey, J-Star, say hello. Say hello to the world. Say hello, world.
Hi.
Hey, there you go. That's my baby girl.
The famous J-Star. We love it.
Yeah,
That's
J-Star. That's right. And I named all my youngins kind of after my life. They're all JDs, kind of like the Jarretts. All the Jarretts are double J's,
Right,
and mine just all of a sudden, all mine are JDs. I got another one named JC, which is after JC Ice. I mean, I got all kind of I got a Jordan Sky. I got all kind of funky Blaze Carrera. I got some cool ass kids, man. There's some cool ass names. I mean, they have to put up with me because people don't understand. It's hard to live with me.
Yeah. Well, and that's understandable, man. The life of a wrestler doesn't always make for the best fathers, the best mothers, but when it comes down to it, you I think what I've liked to see about you, man, is you've really made like a total familial change, man. Like you can tell that you're not the same old Jamie. Again, you probably sometimes think like the same old Jamie, but you can tell, bro. You can tell you've kind of stepped it up, man.
Man, here's the thing. Damn it, I didn't sign up for this, bro. I didn't sign up to be the grandfather, to be the responsible one. I never signed up for this. I didn't know my turn was going to come. Hey, listen, I quit doing drugs 15 years ago. Hate it. Hate every minute of it. Wish I was still doing drugs, running the roads, famous, and have a bunch of money. But I'm not. Now I'm just a grandpa and a dad, and I just do normal stuff. Because here's the thing, what most people probably don't understand. In my life, when I grew up in the wrestling business, it was a mafia. Right. My dad hung out with wrestlers. My mom hung out with wrestlers' wives, and I hung out with wrestlers' kids, and that was it. Yeah. And so if everybody was doing it, it can't be wrong, no matter what it was, because everybody everybody was doing it. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so growing up in my world was, and then one day I entered the entertainment world at a very young age, and then by the time I'm 30 years old, man, I've done more than most 60-year-olds have done in our business, in a sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
definitely.
Time flew by so fast, and then one day, my wife of 15 years, she challenged me, man, and nobody challenges me. I don't care what it is. If it's going dark, if it's a race, I don't get. I always have to accept the challenge. And she said, Jamie Dundee, you're fun, but I can't be with you because you do drugs. Yeah. And I said, shit, I said, Jamie Dundee, I do whatever I want. I'll quit. She said, you can't quit. And this is no joke, brother. Cold turkey, stopped. And I never, ever, ever turned back and did any dope, except one time I had a backslide about a year after I said I would quit. But one day became a week became a month, and then I said, no shit. I ain't been high. I did nothing in a month. And then it became pride. Then it became a pride thing to me, really. And then 1 month was 3 months was a year, and now it's 15 years later, bro. And I'm like, wow, no kidding, man. All because my wife of today challenged me, and I've always been one of them challenging me. I'll show you. Right. It was like, as Dr. Tom Pritchard said, I now drink you, I now smoke you. I'm Jamie Dundee. Well, that's what happened in my sobriety kind of world too. It was like, wow, man. And now it's pride. And now I still spend a lot of money like I did back then, but I spend it on dumb stuff like video games and my kids. And
that's good though. I mean, dude,
see, the cool thing is, man, life is short, brother. Life is really, really short. Super short. And everybody is going to take their time to have to be buried. And you never know when. It can be right now. It can be at the end of the show. I mean, so time is so short, man, that I've really learned a lot in the last 15 years of sobriety, because when you're sober mind, you look at things a little different than you would if you were intoxicated in any kind of way, you know? Yeah,
absolutely, man. And, I don't want to start off with a bummer, but to kind of start off, obviously recently you've had a smack in the face of life with the loss of your son, Austin Dundee.
Very much.
Obviously I sent you a message, man. I'm very sorry, that happened. I can't imagine, because I have a son, and I can't imagine losing him. So I don't even know how to put it in words.
Jimmy, I don't know how to put it in words either. I try to tell my children now and my grandchildren, because out of such a bad tragedy, such a good thing has came about, because it's bonded all my children. It's bonded my grandchildren with us. It's really gave a perspective on, wow, life is not promised for nobody, because everybody in the family, you're supposed to bury your parents. Right. You're never supposed to bury your children. And it's just one of those things, and he's a Dundee too. So he's just like me. We butted heads. We've gone 1.5 years, 2 years without speaking. It's one of those, but he came to my house just a few months ago, and we spent all weekend together, and he knew I loved him. And, because when you're the son of an entertainer, well, any entertainment, a rock band, a movie star, whatever it may be, when that entertainment person is down and they're entertaining the children, I guess they would feel left out, because my dad was an entertainer, and I felt left out a lot of times, because my dad couldn't come to the hospital if I was sick, because he had to go to Memphis, and he had to go to Louisville, and he had to go to Evansville, because the show must go on, and that's what feeds you. You know what I mean? And so it's such a lonely world in a sense, but also you as the old dude Haystack said one time, he said I'm surrounded by people, but I always feel so lonely. Because I mean, it's so true, because everybody in the world just thinks your life is whatever they think it is, and they think it's so great, but they don't ever think of the sacrifices and the children at home and the wives and the women, but all I know is, man, that if you got any kind of beef with any family member or anybody that's in your family or in your life, because family don't mean blood, that just means people that are in your life that are there for you when you need them. If you got a little problem with them over some dumb shit like some money or just, go fix it, man, because life is so short, bro. And this really has opened everybody in the Dundee Clan's family. It's opened our eyes to, wow, man, life is just so short. You know. I mean, I buried my brother-in-law, Bobby. I buried my sister.
Yeah.
I buried my mother. My dad had dementia. All that that's okay, because that's kind of how it's supposed to be. They were all older and they've all lived their life. But to bury a child, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't even know. There's no words to tell somebody how it is unless it happens to you. And I hope it never happens to nobody, because it's the worst thing in the world, bro. It's just not meant to be, man. It's just not something we are our body is programmed to do.
Man, my jaw hit the floor, brother, and I just felt so sorry for you, man. I was like, golly, here I know, because I've heard and I know, as everyone knows, I've said it a million times, I'm the co-host of Wolfie D's podcast. So obviously Wolfie D's co-host is going to know a lot about Jamie Dundee too, and when it comes down to
Wolfie, I mean, if you talk about Wolfie, you talk about me. If you talk about me, you talk about Wolfie, because we did it together. We were there at the same time. We did it all together.
Except your brothers for life.
I had the $800 tab bill and challenge pension. That was all me by myself.
Well, I mean, again, massive condolences from ours.
Yeah, man.
Man. Thank you. And here's the thing. It's one of those. He's got an 8-year-old daughter, my granddaughter. He's got a 5-year-old boy and a 4-year-old, and it's just so. It's just one of those things. And listen, I'm not. The autopsy ain't back, but I'm no idiot. I'm a streetwise dude, and I know that what killed my boy was fentanyl, and I know this in the bottom of my heart. And when that autopsy comes back, that's what it's going to say. And most people would be ashamed of that. And I'm saying this to tell most. Don't do fentanyl, man. Don't do, in our days, listen, cocaine couldn't kill you, bro. You could snort all the cocaine you wanted, your nose would just block up and it wouldn't kill you. But the stuff today, the street drugs of today, they're homemade, and they're just, I don't understand, man. It's a 50-50 shot when you do it, if you're going to live, man. And believe me, if it was a 50-50 shot I was going to live or not, because I love me and I really want to live a long time, I would have never got high, and I can say that 100%. But nowadays, I mean, it's crazy, because they put fentanyl in these pills, and they got pill forms, and they make and my boy probably thought he was doing a lower tab. That's no joke.
Right.
And he was out of a rehab. He had been clean for about 1.5 years, and so and bam, they found him on the floor in the bathroom with the shower running. So my guess is he came home, he got him whatever he was going to do. He did a little bit, and it was a little bit was too much, man. So I'm just telling people, I mean, it's crazy, but you can't tell nobody nothing. People you have to learn the hard way, and this is really a hard way to learn, for real.
It is.
It's terrible. I wouldn't wish it on nobody, man.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, that is so true what you just said. If people could learn from other people's experiences, it would be an easy world, man. You know what I mean?
Very, very much so. That's right. Because here's the thing: we as drug addicts, or we as whatever it is, it's not going to happen to us.
Right.
That happens to everybody else. Like I told Austin's mama, I said, this ain't how our story's supposed to end.
Right.
You know, that's everybody else's story. That's not. Listen, if they would have said Jamie Dundee was found dead, OD'd or something, the whole world would have went, well, no shit.
Right.
You know, just like the crocodile hunter. We wanted him to get eaten by a crocodile. He wasn't supposed to die by a thing off of a stingray. You know what I mean?
Right.
It just don't. It don't go. It don't fit the story, man.
Right.
And so it's just. But see, I teach my kids and my grandkids. I don't ever want to mourn death. I want death to celebrate, because if you're a believer, then he's gone on to better things than this shitty life, man.
Right.
You know.
Right.
But if you're not a believer, then still celebrate the good, celebrate the happiness, celebrate the fun, because every single person on this planet has to die, bro.
Yeah.
And so so to me, you should celebrate it. You should say, listen, at my funeral, I want people drinking. I want them smoking pot. I want them jamming on Kid Rock. I want the Jelly Rolls down on Struggle Gin. I want my boy Easy Jesus Allen Cole up there playing the guitar. I want it to be celebrated and all the fun, because I had a lot of fun in my life, and I want my funeral to be fun. I don't want a bunch of people sitting there mourning and crying and looking over my body. I want everybody there saying, hell yeah, Dundee, he didn't give a shit anyway. Right on, here's a beer, my boy. You know what I mean? It's just, we all have to take our turn. And so it's just, I guess, those that are left behind are the ones that suffer, because the one that's passed away has gone on to better things, man. Is if you're a Christian and a believer, if not, then he's gone on to whatever it is you believe.
Right. Yeah. Well, Wolfie and I have a saying together that we think you'll outlive us all, though, Jamie. It'll be you.
You know what? That's funny to say, but that's usually, I've always lived my life for Jamie Dundee first and foremost. Now that I'm a grandpa, which I didn't sign up to be, I didn't sign up to be the responsible one. I did not sign up to be. I didn't know it was coming. I never ever thought about the day when in life, everybody goes to their grandparents' house if they need something or want something, and the grandparents always give it to them. And I didn't sign up for that. When did I become the top? I'm the grandpa. I'm the oldest in the family. I'm the one that's supposed to tell everybody right from wrong. Well, I don't know right from wrong.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to tell my grandkids and my kids, but I do know to tell them that if you live a good life, good things come to you. I believe in a karma life. I believe in a karma world. If you wake up every day trying to do karma, you try to do bad, conniving, scamming shit, then that's what comes back to you, man. If you wake up every day and just try to get by and survive and just do what you feel is the right thing to do, then I believe that that's what comes back to you, man. I really do, 100%.
Yeah, I think there's something to that for sure, man. And, we kind of pivot to a little bit of wrestling here. Jared, he always takes the first question. Obviously, this is a totally different show because Jamie Dundee is on the show with us.
Let's get on some wrestling talk. This is called Give Me Back My Wrestling, not Jamie Dundee's sad story. Shit.
No, man. But, we want you to be able to talk about it, though. So take it away, Plastic Sheik.
All right, Jamie. So this is a question that's going to, I wouldn't mind you to answer this in maybe two ways.
Okay.
So I always like to know, a Mount Rushmore of wrestling for you. Like, who influenced you? Who did you like to watch? Who do you think is the greatest of all time? And it's a totally opinion question. And you could also give me some tag. You should also you give me a solo and a tag team, though.
The very greatest, the reason I became a wrestler, being the son of a wrestler, you really don't want to grow up and be a wrestler. You do when you're a little boy, you watch your daddy on TV, and that's cool, and you go to the shows, but it's kind of like you don't, my daughter, my 15-year-old sitting here with me, she has never seen me in the ring but one time in 15 years.
Yeah.
And you see what I'm saying? Because it's a totally different world, and when you get struck by that stardom part, but what made me want to be a professional wrestler is the greatest professional wrestler on our planet, and that was my brother-in-law, beautiful Bobby Eaton.
Boom.
When
Amen.
I watched Bobby Eaton in the ring, brother, I said, wow, this dude has got it. And of course, my dad was my hero, of course, like all little boys. And Jerry the King Lawler, by God, Lawler and Dundee. If you have never seen a Lawler and Dundee match, when you turn one of them on, you won't know if it's a work or if it's a shoot or it's so believable that I still to this day don't know.
Yeah.
But it's Bill Dundee, Jerry Lawler, my brother-in-law, beautiful Bobby Eaton, and of course Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson. Because those people were around my whole entire life. When my daddy became a booker and went to Louisiana for Bill Watts, or we went to Charlotte for Crockett, or we went to wherever we went, here and there, bounced all over the world, my dad would always take the Midnight Express, the Rock and Roll Express, a referee named Ronnie West, and he would take guys like Terry Taylor or a few others, but always the Rock and Roll, the Midnight, and Bill Dundee, and we would move and we would all go together. You know what I'm saying? Awesome. And so those gentlemen have been such a big part of my life that Bobby passing away was just, it was the very first really devastating, because I believe me, I buried a lot of my wrestling brothers that I loved and that I've been up and down. But when Bobby Eaton passed away, it was bad, man. And, but also that's, like I said, I have learned to accept death. Death is coming for every one of us, whether we want it to or not. And so I just feel that to become a professional wrestler, what made me say this is what I'm doing is watching my brother-in-law wrestle Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson. I mean, honestly, when I watched it, it was just the greatest thing in the world. And then, then of course, everyone knows the Rock and Roll versus the Midnight is, bar none, the greatest. Or hell, the Rock and Roll versus anybody or the Midnight versus anybody is
right. Amen.
That is what made me want to be a wrestler.
Man, there was a match with your dad and Jerry. It was in the 80s, and I think Sting and was by ringside. It was a loser leaves town match. That is one of the best matches.
That was the second deal where they built it up for my mom to shave her head. People thought they were going to shave my mom's head again for the second time, but yeah. And she went to the ring with it, and it was Paula Lawler and Jerry Lawler, and then on the other side was Beverly Dundee, and it had a lot. It had Billy Travis, had Sting and the Warrior as the Freedom Fighters. It had Pat Rose. It had a whole bunch of wrestlers. Every wrestler in the company, they put them on around the ring.
That's awesome.
And that was really unheard of back in that day, because you had to kayfabe, and they had all these guys sitting next to each other, because that's how they made it. Like that's what it was. That's how big of a deal it was.
Right. I'm telling you though, it's one of the greatest matches I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen a whole lot of matches. So
and 60 minutes it went. It went like 55 minutes or something.
I know.
And they never ever lost the people, bro. I mean, that's see what the world don't really understand. When you watch Vince McMahon come to town, and he brings all them lights and all them cameras, and he hits your town, and he comes one time a year to your town.
Yeah.
And most of the time he don't sell the building out.
Right.
He has to give the tickets away to make it full.
Yeah.
In our world, every single Monday night, they had to go to the same building with the same people. Every Tuesday night, you had to go to Louisville with the same people. So to be able to go 52 weeks in a year for 25 years to the same building and still draw money, brother, that's really it's hard as hell to even fathom, to think that could be done.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times will you go see a movie? Maybe twice, 3 times at the most. And this is the same movie coming to your town every week, and they're packing it in, bro. They are packing it in, and it's very, very hard to even just to think about that, man, for real.
It almost seems magic. You know what I mean?
Exactly right. But it was magic, because Jerry Jarrett, Bill Dundee, Jerry Lawler, and Eddie Gilbert, and many other guys that would go to the office and get together and book it. And they always said, if the people can call it, they won't come back. So you never could call it. Even if shit, sometimes when I was in the angles, I couldn't call the next deal because they would swerve us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, wow, this is where we're going with this. And they'd be like, nope, we're going to go here. And you go, wow, that is brilliant. But that's why they ran for 40 years in the same towns and drew money and made money,
Yeah, no doubt.
I was going to ask you, Jamie, what do you think had Vince not bought up everything and done all that, what do you think? Do you think that the territories could have survived all this time?
Well, here's the thing. It's not that the territories couldn't survive. It's that the talent couldn't keep up. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. When we moved to America, when I was 4 years old, we came from Australia and we moved to America. There was 32 major organizations. So what that meant was there was 32 world champions, there was 32 tag champions, and then there was other wrestlers. And what I mean by that is you could go Dundee and Lawler are the top 2. Then you got the Rock and Roll versus the Midnight as the tag. And then what you do is you just feed other wrestlers. So you would bring stars from Florida, say, and bring them in, and Lawler and Dundee would beat them, and the Rock and Roll would beat them, and the Midnight would beat them, and a year and a half later, they would go back home, and they are the stars of Florida. So Florida was thrilled to see them, so it would draw again. Yeah. And then you would take Lawler and Dundee in them, and you would feed them to Florida, and you would give them to Florida for a year, and they would put all them guys over, so it'd give credibility to them. And then you would send them back home, and when they came back to Tennessee, the world was so happy to see them. You know you see what I'm saying? You could swap the talent. My dad would go into a company and he would fire everybody in the company. But the first thing he would do was make sure they had a job. So he would go into the company and he would say, hey, Danny Davis, hey, Terry Taylor, hey, Magnum TA, you 3 are going down to work for Dusty and the Rock and Roll and the Midnight's coming here. You see what I'm saying? And swap the talent around. And if you went through 32 major organizations, you could literally spend a year in each one, 10 years, 5 years later, by the time you came back to your company where you're the star, the people are so happy to see you that it draws again. Yeah. And that's how wrestling stayed alive. Plus, everybody could work. Yeah, I mean, it's not the people's fault today that they don't know how to work. It's because the ones before them didn't know how to teach them. Right. You can't teach psychology. You listen. You get on the internet right now. There's a 7-year-old boy playing drums, and he plays Neil Peart's Rush. You know, Neil Peart, one of the greatest drummer that YYZ solo, and he's 7 years old. You can't teach that. That is not ever going to be taught. That is born in you. Tosh Farron is the little guitar player dude. He's about 20 now, but he was 10 years old when he won Australia's Got Talent playing Purple Rain by Prince.
Wow.
You can't teach those things, man. Tiger Woods kind of golf, Michael Jordan kind of basketball. You cannot teach that. Yeah. It's either in you or it's not. And the same with wrestling. You can teach people to wrestle. As they always said, you can teach two monkeys how to wrestle. They just don't know how to do the psychology to sell it to the people.
Yeah.
And that is the part that is the, in the wrestling world, man, it is the only business that I love, that fed my whole entire family. But it's the only business in the world that I myself can take 16,000 people in a building and I can stand them up, sit them down, make them scream, make them shut up when I want them to, exactly the moment I want them to. Because that is what psychology is. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to go into the ring and go, "Hey, shut up, you fat girl." That ain't heat at all. Heat is like Jimmy Hart. Sit in that chair and don't move until the very, very end. Jump up, hand them the chain, do the screw, and run away. Yeah. And people are so angry and so mad. Sputnik Monroe, one time, a woman threw her baby at him. That's how mad she was.
Oh, my Lord.
She had her baby in her hand and threw it at this guy because she was that angry of the psychology part. It's just wrestling is so easy. They just made it so hard now.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Harder than it should be.
Wrestling is so easy, but they've made it so hard, and it's not their fault. It's because nobody knew how to teach them. And, my dad had a wrestling school when I was a kid, and that's how I learned to wrestle. I didn't know I was learning to wrestle, but there were 35 people in this wrestling school, and you think Bill Dundee was taking the bumps? No, sir. Right. Every Sunday, all 35 of y'all body slam Jamie. All 35 of y'all drop an elbow on Jamie. All 35 of y'all drop kick Jamie. All 35 of y'all backdrop Jamie. And guess what? Jamie learned to work. But I didn't know it. You know what I mean? And that's another thing. If you're a tree climber and you cut down trees, the first time you go up that tree to cut it down, they don't tell you. They just say, keep climbing, keep climbing, keep climbing. Next thing you know, you're on top of this tree and you cut it down.
Yeah.
They have made our business so hard and so just where I mean, it's exactly what it is. It's entertainment garbage. That's like, they got these script writers that write the script.
Right.
And they write a script up for somebody that they don't even know. That'd be like saying, Jamie Dundee, we want you to go out on this TV and we want you to be real quiet. We don't want you to say nothing. We want you to just be out there. Never going to happen. Can't do it. No way possible. But a scriptwriter don't know that, so he just writes, Jamie Dundee going to go out here and be quiet today. Well, the people don't buy that because they know Jamie Dundee can never be quiet.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome.
That's awesome. Right. I mean, that's the truth, man.
Yeah, well,
I remember seeing a match with you in ECW. You like got the mic and you were like, just the crowd was so furious at you in like 10 seconds.
Yeah, but see, it was one of those things where everybody in the crowd looks at me and says, I can whoop him. First and foremost. You know what I mean? They're like, that dude, I can whoop the shit out of that guy. Right.
Yeah.
So that right there is the big plus being a heel, is because the people think, I would kill this guy right here, man. They don't know that, I'm cardio and I'm training hard and, I'm snorting cocaine and I'm doing lots of good things. You ain't whooping me, not in my ring.
First you got to catch me, right?
But that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. It's a mind game. It's kind of like when you watch Magic. We know David Copperfield never made the Statue of Liberty disappear. We know that Chris Angel never made that tree push aside. And we know all that never happened. But when we watched it, it happened.
Right, exactly.
And the same thing as wrestling, man. Like I said, if the people can call it, it's over anyway.
Yeah. So let's take it way back to the beginning here. So your official start, obviously you're one of the few that were actually born into the business. I think you've probably been in the business since you came out of the womb, essentially.
Yes, true that.
Because of the jobs you would do and getting fat chicks to kiss you on the cheek, and that was awesome too.
I was 8 years old, and that's when it sunk into me that I could do this for the rest of my life, and I don't mind. I was wearing jumpsuits like my dad. I was 8 years old, and I was walking around the wrestling buildings, and back then you could smoke in the buildings, and they sold alcohol, and all them people are smoking and drinking. Them old women, they say, Little Dundee, give me a hug. And I went to the dressing room. I told my daddy, I said, Daddy, them old women smell, man. They smell like tobacco and alcohol and stuff, man. I said, they want hugs and kisses. And he said, well, charge them. And I thought, really? So I said, I would go back out and walk around. They say, come here, little Dundee, give me a hug. I say, ma'am, hugs are $1 and kisses are $2. And them old broads would say, well, here's $5. You give me 2 of each. And I'd say, oh, God, but I would do it. I'd give them a hug and 2 kisses, and I'd leave that bill in 1977. I'd leave that bill with $30 or $40, and I'd think, damn, that's a lot of money, because most people didn't make $2 an hour back then. And $50 was a whole 8-hour-a-day work, and I did it in an hour kissing fat chicks. I'm like, I can do this. I can do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah. So what was your first official match, and where was it?
My very first of it, no, Jaden Starr, that will not. My daughter said, well, that worked for me. Nowadays, it's $20 for hugs and kisses, but no, that will not work for you, because you are a girl, and girls cannot do that and get away with it. Boys could.
Right.
But my very first match ever was in Knoxville, Tennessee. My dad became the booker for Ron Fuller, Robert Fuller's brother. You know, he had just bought Knoxville. It was called Continental, and Continental closed down, and Ron Fuller bought it and called it the USA Championship Wrestling, and we run in Knoxville, and he hired my dad to be the booker. And so I was on the road, my dad selling my dad's pictures. Bill was a babyface, and they wanted him to switch heel, and he said, I'm not going to switch heel because my kid's smoking pot already. And, you know, and of course, he's kissing chicks for dollars, and he's wilder than a buck. He's 16 years old, and I don't want to switch heel, because if I do that, he can't go on the road with me. So Ron Fuller said, why don't you make him the manager? So he came to me, and this was his exact words. We were cutting the grass, and he said, boy, Fuller wants me to switch heel. He said, you want to be my manager? And I thought, I don't know. He said, son, there's more money, more pussy, and more fame than you can poke a stick at. And I said, well, then I want to do it. So by the time we hit the road, and my very first match ever, I was Bill's little heel manager, and nobody knew I was Bill's son. I was just this little manager guy, right? And it was against a midget named Butch Cassidy. Oh, man. That was my very first match ever in Knoxville as a heel. And but my dad had already had the wrestle school in Tennessee, in Nashville, so I had already been taking lots of bumps and learned, like I said. And so I did the little match with the with the midget. And brother, you talk about heat, man. That brother, he could go, man. He just said, go with me, kid. And he flew me all over that building. And then Bill ran to the ring and power drived him, and I covered him 1, 2, 3. Bro, I thought they were going to riot, man. The heat was so, because Bill's not much taller than the midget, but it was 2 of us and 1 of him. So when we got that 1, 2, 3, and bro, that started my kind of, my taking, because a heel manager must take bumps, you know what I mean? Right. And so that's when I started that match. Then that company closed. We went to Tennessee, and my very first babyface match, as a matter of fact, I just watched it the other day. It was August the 22nd, 1988. Was my very first match ever, announced by the greatest announcer ever, Lance Russell. Yes, sir. And it was great because the people cheer me and boo Bill. I wrestled downtown Bruno. I wrestled downtown Bruno. He was the manager of the stud stable, and they had built this little angle. And then we did the angle where Sid Vicious breaks my neck and all that stuff right after that. But it was great because I told Bruno the other day, I said, Bruno, I got our very first match ever from the live camera from the building with Lance Russell doing commentary. And then when he builds me up, Jamie's first match, then people cheer like hell. And when they say in this corner, Bill Dundee, that whole building goes, boo. Right. But that's Lawler Company. That's Lawler. You know what I mean? That's Lawler Town. And it was pretty cool because the people, they welcomed me and then told Bill, man. And they were like, your boy's first match, good, way to go, little Dundee, but your old man, he cheats on Lawler and all. It was great.
That's great.
All right, Jamie. So this is a question that, there's going to be many answers that are possible, I'm sure, but who are some of the craziest people in the business that you've come in contact with? I know we've got a recent thing with Billy Jack Haynes, kind of maybe mercy killing his wife and everything like that, but
allegedly, right?
Allegedly, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
well, it depends on who you ask. Jamie Dundee would be one of them. I think most of that Dundee's a crazy man.
I think you're quick-witted though, Jimmy. I think that's the thing. But you're very quick-witted.
Fun crazy. My crazy is not Billy. Billy Jack was literally that. And you know what's real weird about that? About 4, 5, 6 months ago, just out of nowhere, bro, I get a message on Messenger. It says, "Hey, bro, how you doing?" And I look at it and I go, Billy J, is that the Billy J? Is that the same guy? Because it wasn't like me and him were pals or buddies. I mean, he worked in the company with us when we were drawing pretty good. It was the Rock and Roll versus us, and him versus Brian. And I mean, it was a good. The company was all together. We were, but it wasn't like me and him were really ever even kind of spoke. And I was like, yeah, I'm good, brother. Is that you, Billy Jack? He's like, yeah, man. How you doing? I'm like, I'm all right, brother. I said, how the hell are you, man? I said, shit. I said, like anything, I thought you was already dead, bro. I said, no, I don't mean that in a bad way, but I have not heard that dude's name in 25 years, probably. Right. And then all of a sudden, he just sent me a message. He definitely was a crazy, but he was a big, bad, crazy dude in the 70s and 80s, they said. I mean, he's a tough son of a bitch, man. I mean, I don't know what the situation is. He broke Brian Christopher's collarbone, and he didn't care. He when he would do them interviews and shit, you could see that he was telling you, "I'm going to hurt you." He was coming to hurt you, man. It was definitely one of the craziest bastards I ever met. Now, as far as the wrestling crazy, like Sabu's wrestling crazy. You know what I mean? I mean, that dude who puts his body through, or Mankind, the same thing. The things they do to their body for this shitty business that don't appreciate it is just wow to me. But if you mean crazy like in the mind, definitely Billy Jack Haynes is way up there long before this wife deal. And let me see, there's two more. Let me think of this other guy's name. Oh, gosh, it's not going to come to me because I'm trying to think of it so hard, Oh.
How about New Jack? New Jack
is, let me say it like this, and they can take this any way they want to take it. New Jack was a bully.
Yeah, okay.
New Jack was a punk bully mother. New Jack never beat nobody up face to face, man to man. New Jack sucker punched people. New Jack put knives in it. You see what I'm saying?
Tasered.
Right. Tell you whatever. And he did it premeditated. You know what I'm saying? And the reason he did that is because he wasn't tough. He was a coward and a punk and a gangbanger that just happened to get a shot in the wrestling business. You know what I mean? Honestly. And I would say that to his face. I lived with New Jack. Me and New Jack was in Philadelphia. This motherfucker runs and busts the window out of the car while we're putting gas in it. And I put this on my dead mama. New Jack took off the one other way. I jumped in the car and punched the dude in the face. Man. And New Jack took off running. New Jack said, shit, bro, that's how you get killed. I'm like, yeah, that's my car, man.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, honestly, New Jack was a bully and a punk, man. He was one of them dudes that he's only tough if he knows he's gonna wrestle the mass transit fat kid and put 4 razors in his. You know what I'm saying? Or Gypsy Joe. Gypsy Joe was an 80-year-old man and damn near beat his ass. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, but New Jack, he definitely was crazy, but he was cowardly. He was a punk crazy. He was the kind of crazy that it takes 5 gang members to do. You know what I mean? Five bitches can whoop a man.
Right. I mean, and he would have never done that to a 40-year-old Gypsy Joe. You know what I mean?
Hell, he wouldn't have done that to a 60-year-old Gypsy Joe. You believe that?
Right.
Because he didn't do too well against an 80-year-old Gypsy Joe.
Right, exactly.
And I was the one that drove New Jack to the building. New Jack stayed at my house before that show. And Joe was the type of guy. Joe believed Joe was still the same Joe at 80 years old. And New Jack even said, hey, brother, what you want to do here? And he goes, you bring it, whatever you got. And Jack's like, damn, is this old dude for real? Yeah, Jack, he's for real. I said, but listen, man, I said, Joe, just, it's nothing. Just go out here and, just do your little thing. And Gypsy Joe, backed Jack in the corner and punched him in the face about 3 times and damn near knocked him out. And that's when Jack said, holy shit, this dude's for real.
Busted
and he grabbed him by the hair and he tied it around the top rope, and then he just kept, his size was 4 times bigger than Joe, and Joe was an 80-year-old man. Right. Because believe me, Joe lived down the road from my mama's house, and I saw him after that, and it hurt him. It hurt Joe. It hurt Joe's pride, but it also hurt Joe and let Joe kind of know that, because New Jack was a 35-year-old gang-banging brother, you know? And so, honestly, if you would have told Joe and New Jack, y'all go to the ring and fight, just throwed him a fist, I don't know if Jack could have took him.
Right.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah.
Maybe not. Yeah, I agree. I think Joe would have whooped him any other
I believe Joe would have whooped him there if Joe wasn't. Jack didn't realize what was happening and so he grabbed him by the long hair, tied it around the top rope, and then just started punching him in the face.
Yeah.
And Joe was an 80-year-old man. And I don't care what nobody says. Youth beats age at any time, any day of the week. Youth is the way. Youth is always going to win. You know, it's got to. There's no way it's not.
Exactly. No, you're exactly right. So we talk about Gypsy Joe. You know, obviously that leads me to talk about this guy. So on the Wolfie D podcast, when you were on there, I asked Wolfie, I was like, Wolfie, what was your first thoughts of Jamie? He was like, man, he's walking around his dad's jumpsuit. I hated him. He was so cocky. I want to find out from you, what were your first thoughts of Wolfie D?
Well, first of all, I didn't know that Wolfie was ever in the crowd because by that time I was already had been the manager, you know, because like throughout my life, like Jerry Jarrett would get mad at me or something and they would fire me, right? You know what I'm saying? Right. And then later on they'd bring me back for a little angle and we'd do a little angle to help, you know, pop Bill or whatever. Because, you know, that, like I said, they were very smart businessmen as far as that goes. But I never even knew Wolfie was in there. I met Wolfie D when I remember meeting Wolfie D. He was Airwolf, and he was coming to where I live now. I live in a little town called Seabury, Kentucky, and right down the road was Central City and all these little towns we run in. And we really did for a bunch of outlaw wrestlers. We worked every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we were off Monday and Tuesday. And so we would do the same kind of little circuit. And so when I met Wolfie, I thought he was really good. You know, he was a little skinny kid called Airwolf, but I thought he was really good. And so I started doing angles with him, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times in, you know, these outlaw towns, it's their cousin Johnny and old Uncle Bobby and all them and little Billy and they suck, but they're on the show because their moms are the promoter, you know, whatever. So when I found somebody that could wrestle, I would always say, okay, listen, this is what we're going to do. We're going to put that guy with me. So, you know, because I wanted to learn to wrestle and get better. And the only way to get better is to do it in front of people, whether it's 5 people or 5,000. Right. And I thought Wolfie was really good. And then when he did the first time, he put the shorts on and did the DJ. He called himself DJ Wolfie D.
Okay.
And Chris Champion said, and I was Jamie the Ice Baby Dundee because I had just come off that Memphis TV where I was managing Stone Cold and all that, and I turned into JC the Ice Baby because of Vanilla Ice, and so I turned on my dad and stuff. So when I come out of that and started doing the Outlaw Towns wrestling, I was a babyface so I could sell my pictures, and I was just Jamie the Ice Baby Dundee. And Chris Champion said, man, y'all should do that together, and that's how we. But my first things of Wolfie, I don't ever remember him being at the fairgrounds or none of that because back then he would have just been a mark and we didn't associate with marks. Like I said, we were a mafia. We would associate them when they had dollars in their hands, and after that you shuffle them on out the way and let the next dollar come to the table.
Oh man, I would love to know that Wolfie bought a picture from Jamie. Can we just make that story up?
I would love to know that too, but he would never ever on this planet admit that if he did. He would never tell us. I guarantee he would never tell us. But he did tell me that he hated me. He used to say, I hated you, man. You walked around there so cocky. I said, I wasn't walking around there cocky. I was cocky. What are you talking about? I was Bill Dundee's boy. You know, what are you talking about? You paid $15 to get in, not me. Yeah, my daughter walks around cocky, and she's only ever seen me one time in the ring.
Right. Well, it's in the blood. It's in the blood, man.
Yeah. It is, because let me tell you something. I took her up north to, you know, when I did them, you know, I no-showed the last 2, but I did do 2 conventions with Wolfie up there. You know, I did the Eric Sims thing. I went up there and made my wrong right, because I didn't know anybody would really give a shit if I showed up or not, but I guess they did, and I'm glad. Yeah. But I took my daughter to that, and like that was the very first time she had ever seen her dad, Jamie Dundee, as a star or a celebrity or whatever you want to call it. You know, with people lining up to get my autograph and stuff. And she had never, ever seen that before. And, you know, she knew her grandpa's a wrestler. She knew I was a wrestler. She, you know, the things are online. But I guess when that's your dad and then you don't really care. You live with them. You know, all she wants is a new iPhone and some new Nikes. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so the first time that I told Angela, I said, damn. I think my kid just got bit by the bug, and we can't have that. We're sitting in that Philadelphia arena, at the ECW arena, and then people's lined up, and I'm signing autographs, and I look over, and my kids got on them shades like that Almost Famous video, you know, the Almost Famous cover, the girl with the shades.
Oh, yeah.
Jaden Stark got them shades on, got a PG-13 shirt on, got a marker in her hand, and shit, she's ready to sign, bro.
I bet.
We're creating a monster right here, man. I said, I don't think she really understood what that in my day I was kind of somebody. You know what I mean? That people want your autograph, and I don't know. It's pretty. Yes, she said she flexes it. She said, "You're my biggest flex." I tell everybody, you know, Brian Christopher come and live with us for a while before he passed away and stuff, and so you know, she would tell everybody, Brian Christopher, my best friend. You know, she was like 7, 8 years old. She's like, Brian Christopher, my best friend. And people say, it is not. She called him on the phone. Tell him, Brian, you my best friend. But the celebrity part, I think it was, she saw that, and so by the end of this 2 days, man, she's signing autographs, and I'm like, oh no, this is not going to happen. My kid's not going to be in this damn entertainment business. It's not happening. Right. And so, but it's kind of good that they get to see that part, but the outcome's always so bad. But I mean, hell, I don't know. I've always said the outcome in the entertainment world's bad, but the outcome I guess in a lot of things is bad. I don't know. I have no answers. I don't know if I did it right or if I did it wrong, but I know I'm still here. So whatever it is, it worked.
Right, exactly. Well, let's just pretend like the day comes. How old is she? How old is Jade?
Jaden's 14. She'll be 15. And when's your birthday? I got so many. I got one in every month, so I don't know. That's what I should have named them. I should have named them by the month they were born. Yeah, but well, yeah, she'll be 15 in August. So
okay, so she's coming up on that age where she may make that decision, man. What would you do when she does that?
What would I do? But first of all, she couldn't do it in the wrestling business because I burnt so many bridges. Not that I gave, because everybody called me. I didn't call them. You know, our talent, like I always said, me and Wolfie are one of the most underrated tag teams in our sport.
Absolutely.
Wolfie, you can put us in that ring. Well, here's an example. We went to the WWF and wrestled the Smoking Guns. Cowboy Bill Watts comes to me and says, well, you got your work cut out for you tonight, Jamie. He said, they are the WWF World Champions, and they don't have a clue. And he said, you boys better get with them and get it right. And that's what we did. If you watch that match is great. It's me and Wolfie are, you know, we're together. We don't weigh as much as one of them. But by God, them people didn't know if they were going to put us over or not. That's how, because we are, you know, that's just, but Wolfie has a great mind for this business, as I do. And like I said, some things you're just born in you. You can't teach it. Right. And so, just trying to teach them two big dudes how to do something. So a lot of times we didn't even tell them like that. We gave a spot called the cat and mouse where one runs over and they get on him, and then the other one starts chasing him off, and then I run over and get on him. And we didn't really tell them that, because if you tell them that, they would have that up. Right. So what we did was said. So what we said was, come on, we did what you're supposed to, like a little kid. Well, we taunted him, come on. And then he would chase me, and then Wolfie would go over and get the heat. And then I'd say, go chase Wolfie. He'd run over and chase Wolfie, and I'd get it. And so, but if we would have told him that at the beginning, would have never went right. I know. Because, you know, it's one of those, that's what's wrong with the wrestling business today. The two guys get in the back, and they go over every single thing they're going to do. And if they go to the ring and something messes up, they don't have a clue what to do. They're lost. They're scared. They don't. And here's one thing that I always knew. In wrestling, there's an offense and a defense. If you spot up, that's because the other guy was so good that he made you miss. You just carry on. You keep going. You know, what they do is panic. They freeze. They just stop, and they go, oh, my God, what do we do now? What do we do now? Yeah. And Archie Bunker said to Meathead one time, Meathead came in and said, Archie, why are you watching wrestling? Said, that stuff is fake. Said, they know who's going to win or lose. And Archie Bunker said, yeah, they do, but I don't. Amen. And there you go. And that is what makes our business, like I said, one of the greatest magical business. Like I said, I can take everybody in the building and make them do exactly what I want them to do when I want them to do it, because that is what my art form is supposed to be able to do. Yeah. And bless their hearts, it's not their fault, because the ones before them told them this is how you do it. You get in the back. Listen, in our day, they gave us the finish. They said, at the very end, we're going to have so-and-so, you duck the chair, and he's going to nail you with a chair. Wolfie, you hit it with a hubcap, 1, 2, 3. And every single thing from the beginning to that point, we called it in the ring. We did it. We did it when we got out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and me and Wolfie were so good that we didn't even have to speak. We just knew what the other one was thinking.
Right.
And that's what the Rock and Roll had. That's what the Midnight had. That's what really successful tag teams. That's what they have. You just have to look at each other. You just know. It's just because common sense tells us that this is what has to happen at this spot in this moment right now, or it don't make no sense. You know what I'm saying? And that cannot be taught. That just can't be taught.
Yeah. Jamie, how far ahead of your time do you think PG-13 was? Like, it used to have to be a monster in like WWE. Like, you had to be like the Smoking Guns. They were monsters. They might not could work that great, but they were monsters.
Yeah, right. But they are huge. And for those people that don't understand how big these guys are, like even the WWE people, when you say a guy is 6'8" and 310 pounds, that sounds big.
Yeah.
But when you look and you stand next to 6'8", 310 pounds, you really understand how big that is. Yeah. You know, like Andre the Giant, when you say 7 foot something, that sounds tall. But until you actually stand and look up at that dude, then you understand, oh my God, as far as the question, how far ahead of our time, I don't believe we were ahead of our time. I believe we were born too late. I believe we should have been. I always said I should have been born when my sister was born, because you know what I'm saying. The wrestling world back then, it was sympathy on the little guys. You had the big bad heels, sympathy on the baby faces. The more selling you did, the over you got. And I believe I was born too late.
Oh, okay.
Honestly, I believe that because in my whole life, growing up in the wrestling business, I wished I would have born 10 years earlier so I could have got that 1980s run.
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
Totally.
Me and would have made mega bucks in the 80s.
Oh, yeah,
bro.
completely.
You see what I'm saying? I'm just saying. I always thought we were like we were way too smart, and I always just thought I missed my spot. I should have been. That's the way I see it. But as far as to answer your question, as far as the promoters and the way the wrestling world was. Listen, Andrew Dice Clay is one of the greatest comedians on our planet. He sold the Madison Square Gardens out in 1986 with dirty nursery rhymes. But he was so far ahead of his time. You couldn't say lesbian and whatever. And he did. And the world just did not know how to take it. And that's what killed his career, was because he was so far ahead of his time. But it was comedy, and comedy is the truth, and the truth is funny. I mean, honestly, the truth is funny. And so as far as I just like I say, Jed, I don't know. That's a hell of a question, but I myself don't think I think I missed my time. I think I was born too late.
Yeah, I think y'all be making hand over fist now, though. I think y'all be making a ton of money right now too, though. If y'all were working in the scene right now, man, y'all would own AEW. I'm serious.
Yeah, but that's right, and that's exactly. Let me tell you something. That's why guys like me and Wolfie, and there's a bunch of us out there, aren't in the wrestling business, because we wouldn't put up with the way the wrestling business is now.
Right, and that makes sense.
My character, JC Ice and Wolfie D, the two little rapping thugs, I would not go out there and do what this scriptwriter just told me to do. Matter of fact, when the first time we went to the WWF, they told us to do this interview for the Smoking Guns, and they stood us in front of a camera, and the camera had these words rolling on it.
Right, teleprompter,
and it had some words, and then it said Wolf, and it had some words, and we both said, whoa. Said, what is that shit right there? And they said, that's what you're going to say. And we said, that ain't what we're going to say. You're going to turn that off. And you're going to tell us how long you want this interview, and watch this. And sure enough, they turned it off. And they said, the interview's got to be 90 seconds long. We said, hit the camera. Bam. Smoking Guns. 16-time USWA tag. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because the people up there, they don't know no better. So they have to have that written for them. But see, here's the thing. In our world, like I said, we had to sell the same product every week to the same people in the same building. And they know damn good and well JC Ice and Wolfie D wouldn't have come out there and said what they just wanted us to say. So we didn't say it. I don't know where we are. That's not, when we went to Mexico, when we went to Puerto Rico, when we went all over the world, they said, you guys do what you do. We got enough Mexicans, enough Puerto Ricans, and enough whatevers. We want y'all to do what y'all do, because they never seen what y'all do. You see what I'm saying? We've always said you can take our Southern Tennessee style wrestling anywhere in the planet, and it will get over. But you can't bring all that other shit to Memphis and think it'll get over. Ain't gonna happen.
Right, exactly.
You don't believe it, the people aren't gonna believe it, and we got to sell it to them every week, or we don't get paid. So, by God, you know what I'm saying? I believed, honestly, every time I talked, I believed what I said. I honestly believed that I could beat that dude up, no matter who it was, if that's what the case was.
You could tell. It was evident, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's like anything. You can tell that Jelly Roll is what he says he is.
Yeah.
He come from the streets of Nashville. He went to jail. He did live in a boys' home. He did. And so he gives back to the world and the people that made him what he is. You know what I'm saying? He don't forget where he came from, and he's a real mother. Man.
Right.
And my boy Easy Jesus Allen Cole. He's David Allen Cole. Matter of fact, speaking of podcasts, me and Easy Jesus is fixing to start a podcast.
Please start that.
Yeah,
please.
Well, Jimmy, I believe you'll be the one. Listen, Easy, my boy, has been calling me for 2 years. He sent me every bit of equipment we need to start this. And I'm just the type of guy, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing 1 minute to the next. But now I'm slowing down in life. And also, he's put so much work into it. I got to do it for my boy. You know what I mean? But he just reached to me out of nowhere and said, Jamie Dundee, man, you are a great talker. And I think me and you got something the world needs to see and hear. And let's start this. So, for you, Easy, my boy, we're going to start this. We're going to get with Jimmy, and we're going to start, and it's going to be called Living Life with Ice and Easy, baby.
I love it. That's it.
I don't know what we're going to talk about. He don't know what we're going to talk about, but we're going to talk about something, and those that want to listen. What's your better name? My child has a better name.
Okay.
Oh, she says we should be called Living Life with Easy and Ice.
Oh, I love it. That's awesome.
Living life as Easy and Ice. That's good, baby.
I like it. Yeah.
But to me, like I guess because I grew up in the entertainment world, I have never ever in my life, like I said, thought I was a star or thought I was better than, I never pictured myself. If someone sends me a message on Facebook, I answer every single message I ever get in my life. Because if someone's going to take the time to ask me something, I'm going to take the time to answer it.
Right.
And I think it's just bullshit. And they're like, Dundee, I can't believe you answered me. And I go, well, why can't you believe that? I said, you asked me a question. It's called Facebook. It's called Messenger. You ask me a question. In life, if we're going down the street, you answer me a question, I'm going to answer it for you. And it may not be the answer you're hoping to get, but I'm going to answer it for you. And so I guess, I'm like, I didn't know anybody would ever care that I no-showed them conventions. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's when that was the first time I ever thought, really? Well, these people are all mad at me. Wolfie got paid to be there twice because I didn't show up, and this guy's mad at me because I didn't show up. What's he mad about? Nobody cares. You know what I mean? I was like anybody cares. But now that I know that somebody did care, well, then by God, I'm more than happy to show up. And I made my wrong right. I went and did the two I was supposed to do.
Right.
And so I didn't know. So listen, the world, y'all be ready. Ice and Easy, no matter what we call it. Jaden Starr co-hosting, I don't know, but we're going to talk about shit, and it may not be stuff you want to hear. It may be, as they say in the world today, your feelings. It may be about racism. It may be about politics. It don't matter, because I'm not. When I get on Facebook and I make a post, I never ever go back and read a comment. You know why? Because I don't care what anybody else has got to say. I put that post out because that's what I felt, and that's how I feel at that moment. I didn't put that out because I wanted someone to give me their opinion. I don't care. I put that out there because that is how I felt at that moment. And sometimes I think it's funny. Sometimes I think it's, I don't know, racist. Sometimes I think it's your feelings, but I don't care because it's called Jamie Dundee's page. And if you don't like it, get off my page. You know, it's not about y'all. And so I don't know. I've just always lived my life like that. I've never ever cared what anybody else said. The only reason I found out what people said, like New Jack said one time, Jamie Dundee said the N-word. He didn't say the N-word when he lived with me. Well, no. Because you was the coke man. If you go to Rome, you do as the Romans do. I'm not going to go to Rome and say, hey, Romans suck. I'm going to go to Rome and say, you Romans are the shit. Let me get another bump. It's just, people kill me. Now, listen, where I live now, I live in the country. I have rebel flags in my yard. I'm not a racist, bar none am I a racist. But those people that say Jamie Dundee's a racist, good. Because I don't want you motherfuckers coming around my house and shit. I want people to ride by my house and say, that's where that crazy racist wrestler lives. And then if they come out my yard, they would see I have a lot of black kids in my family. I have a lot of nieces and nephews that are black. And I don't even, Australia, we don't even have a black and white racist thing. I learned that in America. I learned these words in America. I was raised in America since I was 4, but I was raised by 2 Australians, and they don't know nothing about that. Our black people are Aborigines. They still live in the jungle. They still climb trees, and they still hunt, and they get water off roots, and they do tribal things.
Right.
Well, so be it. But I mean, listen, America is such an, how can I say this without offending anybody? Well, I don't even care if I offend anybody. America is such a bullshit. It's kind of like Vince McMahon. It's so phony and so bullshit that they think money can buy everything and take care of everything. And then when the truth comes out, it's all, oh, woe is me, poor me. That man up and take what's coming to you, dude. That's the way I see it.
Join me, Gene Jackson, for the Jackson Interaction Podcast, where I'll be doing one-on-one interviews with people from the world of professional wrestling, as well as stand-up comedy. You can get them anywhere podcasts are available in both video and audio form, but you can find them all at genejacksonpod.com.
That's right, it's the Talk of Middle Tennessee, the channel you love to hate and the channel you hate to love. It's Brian Turner from Brian Turner's VHS Rehab. And if you're looking for matches from Wolfie D to Jerry Lawler to Dusty Rhodes and the team that put a pimp before your eyes and a goatee between your thighs, Booty Call and Athena, go to lostwrestling.com. See, I made it easy for you. Brian Turner's VHS Rehab. Booyah.
So let me ask you this. You brought him up, Vince McMahon. I would love to hear your thoughts on this new scandal with Vince.
Here's the thing. It's only a scandal because he got caught.
Right, exactly.
I mean, listen, you're not a bank robber if you don't ever get caught robbing a bank. Right? I mean, if you go into bank robbing and run away with the money, they never say, well, that Jamie Dundee, guys, he's not a bank robber because he didn't get caught. When you get caught, it becomes a scandal or it becomes something bad. Vince McMahon has covered up murders. Vince McMahon has covered up every rapes. He's covered up anything you can think of. He's covered up because not for the person, for himself, because it would affect his money. And that's why they say money is the root of all evil. Money is the root of all evil because Vince McMahon covered up many, many things in his life, and why he would be such a moron to think that he can give some 22 or 25-year-old chick some money to shut up. He's lost his mind. Because first of all, the more famous you are, ask Tiger Woods when he banged the Waffle House chick. The more famous you are, I mean, am I wrong? The more famous you are, the more I want to tell somebody what you did. It's not. Mike Tyson didn't rape that. He just didn't walk her to the limo. Am I wrong? At 2 o'clock in the morning when she went to Mike Tyson's room, she thought she was going to go play Scrabble or something.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Right. She went to Mike Tyson's room at 2 in the morning, and they banged him. And because Mike laid in the bed and said, I'll see you tomorrow, get in the limo, she felt like she was abused. She was not treated like a lady. Listen, the lady don't come out at 2 o'clock in the morning to Mike Tyson in the damn hotel room. Right. But that's what I mean by America is such a it's only woe is me because, oh my God, I got caught. Why would you think you wouldn't get caught? If Vince McMahon paid me money to hush, I'm telling on him.
I'm taking the money and I'm doing it.
Listen, well, actually, I'm not telling on him. I'm gonna have Jade Starr tell on him. That way I didn't break the code. You know? Right. The girl, she took the hush up money, and then after the hush up money, she had her sister tell. Well, I'll be damned. Ain't that coincidental?
Right.
It's not like me. He's done that a million times. Here's another one. Sonny.
Mm-hmm.
Sonny did 5 DUIs and killed a man.
Right.
And she got 17 years, which is the minimum you could get in that state of Florida for doing what she did. Yeah. And the reason she got that was because somebody knew somebody who knew somebody who knew the judge. Yeah. And if you don't believe that's true, you can kiss my ass. Because when I was 19 years old, I was arrested in Louisville, Kentucky for 7 felonies for rolling in the gay bars. I had criminal mischief, phone endangerment, assault and battery with an intent to do all this. It was 35 to 100 years.
Wasn't that with Ronnie Travis? Was that? Ronnie Trump?
Yeah, Ronnie. Yeah, but this wasn't with Ronnie. He wasn't there at the gay bar. It was another dude I was running with. But here's the thing. Bill Dundee knew the sheriff. The sheriff knew the judge. And all of that just disappeared when I was 19 years old. I'm 53 now, and all of that just went away and disappeared. I was banned from all gay bars in Jefferson County, Louisville for life. Well, oh, darn. Darn. But here's the thing. It ain't what you know, it's who you know in America.
Right. Yeah. That's right.
And if you know the right people, that's what Donald Trump did. Donald Trump said, I'm going to become the president to expose the government for what they are.
Right.
We already knew what they were.
Right.
But he brought it to the limelight. Now, guess what? He just got fined $385 million, and he can no longer try to be a politician. Well, ain't that coincidental?
Yeah.
Only in America, bro.
Right. It's only in America. Exactly.
Only in America.
Yeah.
So one of the big
on a rant and shit, I do that all the time.
I love it. No, you're great, fine, man. You're great.
So one of the biggest names in the Attitude Era is Stone Cold Steve Austin, and you have some history with him. You have some history with him in the USWA as manager, right? Tell us a little bit about him at that time.
Man, Steve is the real deal, man. Steve is what you see. I talked to Steve a couple years ago when he was running that show, Redneck Islands.
Yeah.
And the reason that died is because the first year they put a over, and the second year they put a black guy over, and they listen, you take this any way you want, but if you're on a country network channel and you got Stone Cold Steve Austin as the host, and the first guy to win a show called Redneck Island is gay, season 2 probably ain't gonna draw because it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Steve didn't care. He got his money and got paid, but he knew damn good and well that show was done.
That one's done. Yeah, that one's over.
I called him and I said, Steve, hey, bro. He said, because he saw Wolfie at the awards. Wolfie was building the stages or whatever in Nashville at an award show, right? One of them Grammys or whatever, them real award shows, and Steve was the co-host. And he saw Wolfie. He's like, Wolfie D, how the hell are you, man? He said, where's them damn Dundees, man? So Wolfie gave him me and my dad's number, and Steve called. And like I was saying earlier, the more famous you get, the more lonelier you are. And it was great because Steve called me and we talked for literally hours. I mean, it was really like 2 hours. My elbow was hurting and shit from holding the phone so long. It was because I guess when you get as famous and as popular as, Michael Jackson status, Elvis status, Stone Cold status, The Rock status, when you get that famous and that popular, you really don't know who's your friend, who's out there to get you, who just want, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to separate it. So all he wanted to talk about was, man, you remember when we did this? Remember that time on the road? Listen, we made $40 a night. That's what me and Steve made together. We made $80. Man. He had a little bitty shitbox Toyota car. We would eat tuna fish out of the can. He called me managerial protege. He said, managerial protege, how much money we got left? This is shit. Our room was $32.50. This is long before I found drugs. All I found was tuna fish because Dutch Mantell said one time, Jerry said, are you boys on steroids? Dutch Mantell said, on steroids, you don't pay enough money for us to be on food.
I love that.
That's great. Me and Steve made $80. The room was $32.50 a night to split. So that was $17.50 each. So now we got $22 a piece to eat on, and then put gas in that little car and go to Louisville the next day from Memphis, then Evansville the next day. But you know what? I would have done it for free. That to me is that was the greatest, because it's two people doing what you really love, man. Just learn. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like
exactly.
When you're a football player and you start in Pee Wee, and then you go to the little league, and then you go to junior high, then you go to high school, then you go to college, and you finally make it to the pros. And then comes the money and the bullshit and all the other shit that comes with it. All them years before that, you did it for the love of the game, man. You did it because it just meant the world just to go to the building and somebody asked you for your autograph. And you just, I don't know, it's just because it's so in you and you just love it so much. And then you get up there to the Vince McMahon bullshit where everybody wants to go. And then once you get there, it's kind of like, man, I sure wish I was just back in Memphis making $40 per real. I mean, honestly,
right.
It's just terrible, man. It's everybody's backstabbing. Everybody's trying to get somebody's job. Everybody's telling on mother. I mean, if it was the penitentiary, they would all stab each other to death. Because I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. They would tell on you, but they call it ribbing.
Exactly. Yeah. Are we just ribbing?
cocaine in his bag.
Right.
You know, you just patted on me, dude. You just told on me.
Right.
Yeah,
oh man, we're just ribbing. Yeah. It's some stiff ribs if that's the case, man. You know.
Sure enough. And here's the thing, as they say in life, everywhere in life, you meet the same people on the way up as you do on the way back down. So that's why you better be careful who you with on the way up, because on your way down, they may be on the way up, and it's up to them whether you get to continue on whatever it is you do in life. You know what I mean?
Amen. Amen.
I mean, that's just how life works, man. Once again, it ain't what you know, it's what you know.
Yeah. And I mean, you could argue that Hulk Hogan or Stone Cold, I almost kind of lean towards Stone Cold as the biggest name ever. You know what I mean? As far as, did you by chance feel like you saw that in him at the time, or did you just see the drive, or did
everybody saw that in him at the time?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Everybody kind of like, I just saw a thing the other day. It said the top 5 people that Steve Austin hates.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Right. Number 1 was Jeff Jarrett.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I've heard they've made it up or whatever. Now, listen, I understand why he hates Jeff Jarrett. He probably hated Jeff Jarrett just like the rest of the world hated Jeff Jarrett. First of all, it's called Jarrett Promotions.
Right.
Second of all, he was pushed on top because his daddy owned the company. But as far as drawing dollars in Memphis, I'm not saying anywhere else. I'm just saying in Memphis, Jeff Jarrett didn't draw a house ever.
Yeah, right.
And the reason being is because he's a blonde-haired, blue-eyed millionaire, and you want everybody to believe that he paid his. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't really Jeff's fault because Jeff did it right. Jeff started out as a referee. Jeff worked out. Jeff went to the office. Jeff did everything you're supposed to do except change his name. If he'd have changed his name, I believe he would have drew money in Memphis.
Okay.
But Stone Cold says the reason he never, ever got put over was because he had to work with Jeff to make Jeff look good, and Jeff's daddy owned the company, and that kind of bothered Steve, is what it said in this video thing I watched.
Yeah, okay.
And very much so, I understand that, because out of nowhere, like I said, I started running around there when I was 14, 15 years old. I didn't even know there was such a person as Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett was not, I knew Brian Lawler my whole life. I knew Dwayne Johnson my whole life, because when his daddy changed companies with my daddy, they would be there. I knew the Road Dogg. I knew Dustin Rhodes. I knew everybody. Eric Watts. I knew all these second generation. Doug Gilbert, Eddie Gilbert. I knew all these people, but I never heard of Jeff Jarrett. And then all of a sudden, he showed up, and he had long, sissy-ass hair, and he was driving a $40,000 Lincoln, and he was making $2,000 a week when everybody else is making $300. And it's like, wait a minute. And it was kind of one of those, see, when we're old school, if you don't draw in the main event, they drop you down to second or third match, and you get paid what you draw.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's happened to a lot of guys. If you're in the main event and the house drops $5,000, you know you're going back to second match. And we'll try to get another date.
Sure.
Because if it don't work, they're not going to keep putting money in it. Well, even if Jeff didn't work, they still paid him the top dollar. And I kind of understand, you know, if I'm the owner of a company, I'm going to take care of my kid. But I'm damn sure not going to pay my kid the top dollar above everybody else that drew the money. It's just, but that's, you know what I'm saying? Promoters are, I mean, look at Don King. Look how much money he stole off everybody. He didn't do nothing.
Right.
As a person, as a wrestler, as he is the real deal. And see, that's what the world knows. That the world knows people that aren't what they say they are. Ric Flair, everywhere Ric Flair went, he took a bunch of chicks and he spent a lot of money and bought the whole building, whatever they wanted. Yeah. Because that's the lifestyle he said he lived. So you believe it.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just, but once again, no matter what I say, it's just my opinion. And everybody's got one. But the whole world can see it. You can do, there's books, there's, as they say, the record book. Go to the record book. Go to the books to show you how many people showed up when so-and-so was in the main event and how many people showed up. And that'll let you know for real what really went on.
Right. No, that's exactly right. Now, let me ask you this. Have you ever partied with Ric Flair?
I did. Let me tell you a good story. You know, my brother-in-law is Bobby Eaton, so Bobby and Rick loved Bobby, and, you know, my brother-in-law and my sister and my niece and nephews and them lived in Charlotte. That's where they moved to. You know, Bobby had a contract with WCW his whole life. And, you know, their neighbors were Arn Anderson, Ric Flair. It was Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Bobby. They all lived in the same little area. And we, you know, my dad became the booker there one time, so we all moved there. So we were all, and Ric Flair took me on Thanksgiving night to go see the Carolina Panthers play football because I drove from Nashville to go spend Thanksgiving with Bobby and my nephews and nieces and my sister. And, of course, Rick was there and a couple other guys. Arn was there. Tom Zink was there. You know, the Barbarian. All them lived in the same area. They were like a little clique. And so Ric Flair was going to see the Carolina Panthers play, and I said, I want to go. And I don't know if you're supposed to say this or not, but not that I really care. The Cocaine Man went with us, and it was the Cocaine Man, me, Ric Flair, and we went to the damn Carolina Panthers game, and it was great. And I made Ric Flair spend about, I don't know, $700-800 on me. I'd never been to a pro football game, and I said, "Oh my God, Rick, can I have one of them jerseys?" Because I didn't have no money. I worked for Jarrett, and so and Rick said, "Hell yeah, get what you want, kid. I ain't shitting." I bought a big rubber Carolina Panthers helmet head thing. I bought a jersey, everything they had in the concession stand thing. I had Rick buy for me, and I put it all on. And we entered the building, and we only stayed till halftime because at halftime, I don't even know the game, the score, nothing. I just know that halftime they wanted to go to the titty bar, and their old ladies were at home, and so the only way they could go to the titty bar is if we left at halftime. So we left at halftime and snorted coke all the way to the titty bar, and went in the titty bar and hung out till about the game, because you know in the titty bar they had TVs and the game was on. So when the game ended, the night ended, and we went on back to the house. And I remember my sister saying, "I can't believe you had Rick spend all that money on this shit." I go, "Why? He's Ric Flair.
Yeah. I can't believe you didn't get more out of him. That's what I would say.
Well, actually, that was all they had, like a rubber helmet thing that you put on and a jersey. They didn't have much in there to choose from. One of them lantern things, some wristbands. I got everything they had, and I wasn't even a Carolina Panthers fan. I didn't get to do shit, but I was with Ric Flair.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Yeah.
Me and Wolfie partied with him one time in WCW too. You know, we went to the bar because, you know, he knew I was Bobby's, you know, brother-in-law. And then, of course, everybody knows my crazy sister. As Tracy Smothers used to say, if you think Dundee's crazy, you ain't seen shit till you met his sister.
Yeah. Is that the time that Wolfie got chewed out by Arn Anderson? Is that the time?
Yeah, there's another time. Did he ever tell you when he got all drunk and stupid? And I said, I don't have your back in this situation. He was going to punch Tank Abbott in the face.
No, I haven't heard that story. Oh my God.
He's so drunk, he's got one eye shut. And he said, I'm supposed to go over here and punch that guy in the face. And I go, Tank Abbott? He goes, yeah. I go, well, I ain't got your back, bro, because he's going to kill you.
Right. Ox Harley is one thing, but Tank Abbott's a different story.
I'm like, what do you mean what I mean? He's Tank Abbott. He's going to, matter of fact, I'm going to go over there and get on his side. I'm going to beat you up with it. You're going to punch Tank Abbott. He has one eye closed, and he's looking across the bar. He said, I'm going to punch him in the face. And I'm like, not when I'm in the building with you. You know I'm not. I mean, honestly, I would have put the boots to him with Tank, because I was not going to do that.
Oh, my God. That's so funny. That's so funny.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. You got to ask him about it. He'll remember. There's a lot of things about Wolfie. I always got the heat. I was always the one but really it was Wolfie. Wolfie, honestly, if you listen to all the stories, my stories are funny, fun, but all Wolfie's stories are ending. He beat the guy in the National Guard Armory up. This dude was a sergeant. Wolfie punched him in the face. Wolfie liked to jump on people and shit when he was a little inebriated and had a little bit of nebulating going. I'd say, Wolfie, quit getting drunk and punching all these people in the face, man.
That's so funny. Oh my God.
I punch me in the face and then I go to rehab with him the next day.
Yeah. Well, hey, there you go.
And I go to rehab. He's like, I'm here to quit. Good look, I punched my best friend in the world. I punched him in the eye. And he's hugging me. I said, look, I'm just here for support because I don't want to quit. I'm not here to quit. I'm just here for Wolfie. So y'all have a good day.
Is this the time that I've seen a picture of you maybe in a vest and a diaper? No? Is that not the time?
No. That was just about 10 or 12 years ago at the WWF.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
That was when that was about. I've been with my wife 15 years, so that was about 13 or 14 years ago. That's when I had. Yes, my baby girl. She was about about 5 years old, and I went to the rehab because I did a backslide, as they call it.
Sure.
But really, I just went and got high one time, and I hated every minute of it. I was so paranoid and so ashamed of myself, and so it was miserable. But anyway, so I went to the WWF rehab because, first of all, they pay for it for life. So I'm like, I'm going to use this, and it's in Florida, and you can lay on the beach, and it was really nice.
Yeah.
And so I went down there for 1 month, and listen, I got there, and about 2 days later, man, I start shitting, and I just, your body's detoxing, just everything's leaving, and that was their solution. They give me a diaper, and I said, really? This is your solution? And so I put my diaper on, my motorcycle boots, my vest, and I went down to all the meetings, and I wore that diaper for days.
That's amazing. That's hilarious.
No, not the same diaper, baby. I changed the diaper.
The same diaper.
But I did change the diaper, but it was great because, down there, these people are all like mega super doctors. I mean, this rehab it costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's no joke.
Right.
And they never seen nothing like me in this place. And so when I rolled up and they give me a diaper, so I just wore it to all the meetings and shit. And these people are doctors and lawyers, and these are like big time doctors that have, started doing the morphine themselves or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Shit like that. So, they don't play that shit in the doctor world. So they have to really go to this rehab, and I was very entertaining there. They kind of enjoyed me being there.
I'm sure you're entertaining anywhere. I know you are on this podcast.
I think so. But my wife says, she said it's funny because everybody says, how is it living with Jamie Dundee? And she'll say, half the time I don't even know he's there. I guess it's because when we do this kind of things, it's been so long since I've done it, I guess I just get back in the mode of JCIs or whatever. But I guess most of the time I'm just sitting quiet dude at my house. I do what my wife and kids tell me to do, and that's what I guess you're supposed to do.
Yeah, definitely.
Thing where you'll run inside for a superhero
I do that
for hours and then jump out to the air.
My daughter.
I love this.
What do they call that? ADHD.
Right. Right.
My daughter. I had parked the car at the store, and I saw my two daughters, Blaze and Jaden, coming down the street. I knew it was their car, so I go out at the edge of the road, and I'm waving at them. And she calls home and she says, "Mom, Dad's doing that autism thing again. He's out here in the traffic and he's out here on the street just waving at people." And I said, "No, Dad, I was just doing it. I just went out to wave at my daughters because I saw them. I'm happy to see them." But she had to call home and tell them. And she's like, "Daddy's doing that autism thing again. He's out here in the street."
You get your little, like the superhero.
I do. I have all kind of stuff.
Like a superhero.
Right. I put on my little Halloween outfits and I hide in the house. And then when they come home, I jump out on them and I'm like, "Hey, I'm Superman." I guess because I didn't get to be a kid, I'm now a kid again. I don't know.
Of course. Yeah.
That's amazing. No telling you. My wife says all the time. She said, "You never know what I'm gonna see or what's going on when I open the door at home."
You're either going to be angry,
I'm either asleep or I'm dressed up in an outfit, hiding in a closet because I've seen them coming. I'll get on the roof, and, make like moo sounds and shit. I don't know. Never a dull moment. But like I said, I quit doing drugs, and life's really slow and boring. So I have to entertain myself.
No, it sounds like your life is not boring at all, brother. So go ahead.
Bored. My kids are all at school, and then my wife's at work, and so I'm just at home by myself. And
right.
And usually that's when I would do drugs or something. So I don't do drugs, and I don't like to drink because it gives me a headache, and the next day I have to apologize to somebody. So I quit doing that.
Right.
Because I don't think I've ever went one time drinking that I didn't owe somebody an apology. Somebody close to me, somebody really close to me in my family.
That you don't want to have to get an apology.
No, because I did not mean to have my dick out at the gas pump at the it's the alcohol. It's not me. I don't know what that was.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know how to act, but I'm a smart enough man to know that I don't know how to act at that point. And let me tell you something. If you have to see yourself, like if I Google my name, the first thing that comes up is that video of me and Wolfie where I'm all drunk and I call the rock whatever. And if everybody in this planet had to see themselves in a state like that, every day they would quit doing what it was to make them get there.
Amen.
But see, as people, what we do is when we do dumb shit like that, we just suppress it. We put it in the back of our brain and we carry on, and we try to avoid those people so we don't have to remember what we did. But I have to, every time you type in Jamie Dundee on Google, that is the first thing that comes up.
Right.
And so I was like, God, that's really me. And lots of people love it. They think it's great. It's entertaining. Yeah, because it's not you.
Right. Exactly.
If it was you, you would think, I can't believe I said that or did that. And like I said, so I haven't touched a drop of alcohol in many, many years. And I haven't because I owe somebody an apology, and I know I don't know how to act, so I stopped it.
I wasn't even allowed to look you up. Like,
yeah, my daughter's 15, and she's just now allowed to Google my name. I mean, really, it's like that.
I think you've met your match with her though, from the sounds of it.
Now, I just did one for Dutch Mantell, and this is pretty. My wife just brought this to my attention. Dutch Mantell's podcast thing, I did his show not too long ago, and he puts it in segments, right? This was crazy. Every single segment had been watched 20,000, 15, 18,000, 20. There was one segment that I could not believe this number. The day we looked it up, it said Jamie Dundee reminisces on cocaine. Now listen, every other segment had 18,000, 12,000, 15,000. Do you know how many people clicked that segment?
Oh, 100,000.
9.
Whoa.
I could not believe it. I said, wow. My wife said, see, nobody cares. They've seen that a million times. They wanted to see all this normal shit, which I understand. But I mean, I was like, wow, that is just 9 people, when we looked it up at that time, had clicked it. 20-something thousand had watched every other segment. That blew me away. I was like, wow, man, I mean, I guess that just speaks volumes, I guess,
Well, I mean, let me give you some numbers real quick. So with the Wolfie podcast, I have all the numbers here. Your 2 episodes you did with us, one of them is at 11,000 downloads, and the other one is at 8,000 downloads. So yeah, because here's the thing. It's harder to do these podcast apps than it is YouTube. Everybody can go to YouTube and they're on YouTube. But whenever you don't put it on YouTube and it's everywhere else, it's a little more difficult to find. So people find it. But man, 11,000 people listen to you. Almost 20,000 people downloaded your 2 episodes. So that's pretty amazing, man. So
as a matter of fact, you know what's even more amazing? Hey, everybody that listens, send me $1.
Yes. Bro, that's it right there.
Daughter just pulled this in story time with Dutch with Jamie Dundee. It's got how many? 47,000 views. 47,000 views on that segment. 37,000. And the cocaine thing only has like 1,028 listens. That's crazy to me. But I mean, it's not crazy to me because the world kind of knows what my past was. It ain't like, it was kind of like when Vince McMahon called. I don't think he went, I wonder who Jamie Dundee is. I'm sure he knew who I was before the phone ever rang. I guarantee.
Exactly. Okay, now we got our hands full with this one.
That was kind of like that Jimmy Cornette talking about. He tried to fire me. I said, you can't fire me. Your company's shut down. You don't even work for us. And that's what he said. Well, I tried, Randy Hale. Sorry.
Randy tried to put it off on Cornette. That's hardcore, man. Oh, man.
Randy Hale said Jamie's won't show up, and he's laying out with chicks, and he won't come to the shows. He said, I've got to fire him. So he said, Cornette, fire him. So I come in TV, and TV starts at 10. I got there at 10:35 or something. And Cornette's coming there. He said, Jamie. I said, what, Jimmy? Because, I've known Jimmy since I was a little boy because he met Bobby. He used to come to my house at Christmas, and everybody was mean to Jimmy. They kind of picked on Jimmy because Jimmy, he wasn't really considered one of the boys, But anyway, he is now. But at that time, he said, Jamie, what are you doing late? I said, I guess because I left late. I don't know what you want me to say here. And he goes, well, Jamie, I want you to know you're fired. And I busted out laughing. I said, how you going to fire me? Your company just shut down.
From Smoky Mountain?
Smoky Mountain just closed. We let y'all come to our company to get a little bit of a run to feed some of these boys. And you don't even work for us, so you can't fire me. So I went took my shit off and went on TV and did my thing and went home. And I really did not ever know till he did the video that says I tried to fire Jamie Dundee and he wouldn't let me. I didn't know really didn't know they were for real. I thought I never gave it a second thought. I thought Jimmy was just around or something.
Yeah.
And come to find out, he was kind of serious. Well, it didn't work for me.
Jamie, so sounds like your wife has been an excellent influence on you in your life. When did you meet her? Tell us about that.
I hate her. Let me tell you something. Like I said, she challenged me first off, and nobody'd ever challenged me before. And I'm going to tell you the reason I married her. 2 reasons. First reason I married her is because she took my teeth and went out on New Year's Eve and sent me pictures of my teeth at the bar without me because I was a drunk prick long before the time to go party on New Year's Eve.
Right.
I'd already got drunk and I was a prick. And when I passed out, she said she thought I could take his money. No, he'll get more money. I can take his jewelry. No, he don't give a shit. He'll get more jewelry. She said, I'm going to take his teeth because he ain't going to go nowhere without his teeth. And sure enough, she took my teeth out on the town. And I woke up and I said, where's my teeth, bitch? She said, they're right here at the bar, you asshole. And she sent me pictures of my teeth are on the bar having a drink. And my teeth went out on New Year's Eve without me. And so I thought, this got me, man. This chick has got me. Nobody's ever got me. And then the second thing she did, and I said, I'm going to marry you, is we was in the shower, and I peed on her leg, and she peed back on my leg, and I was like, you know what? I'm marrying you. And that's why we got married. Because nobody has ever got me, and no bitch has ever peed back on me, and that's the greatest thing you've ever faced. No, you will be married. And 15 years later, we are still happily married with all our beautiful daughters.
I wouldn't go happily.
That's awesome. Yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah, but I was like, because nobody's ever got me, man. I'm Jack Dundee. I've been selling kisses since I was 8 years old. Nobody gets me in this world.
Right.
Nobody.
Right. When you find the right one, though,
That's right. And listen, the best part, my wife grew up Christian in a Pentecostal family.
Wow.
Listen, you talk about opposites attract. This right here is one of those. Her whole family, her whole town, every person that's ever, her teachers, anybody that's ever met her is like, you married that guy?
Right. How? Yeah.
Yeah. Why? I mean, how? And this is how it started. On MySpace, she sent me a message, and all it said was, hi. That was it. Just said hi. And I read.
You were like, yes.
You want me to take care of you the rest of your life? You want to get married? We'll have kids. We'll run off together. I'll straighten you out. I'll wake you up. And then it will be 15 years later. We'll be a happy couple. That's what I read. No, that did not mean none of that. It really just meant hi.
Right. How you doing?
Well, she had seen me wrestle, because she's 10 years younger than me. So she had saw us on TV, and she lived right by Evansville. But of course, she grew up in a really Pentecostal. You know how Pentecostal, to me, I call it a cult. It's kind of a cult. They are all believed, and they are there, and they all stay together, and everything they do together. And she came with the church 2 times to the Coliseum and saw me wrestle. And she used to tell her mom and daddy, yeah, he's so cute, and she's 10 years younger than me. So when I was 25, she was 15. Mm-hmm. So she's about like Jaden saying, Snoop Dogg's cute or whoever. But you know what I mean? And then 10 years later, she just happened to say on MySpace, hi. And I was like, hi, what's up, girl? I was actually working on the circus. Me and my dad was on the road on the circus. I was getting shot out of a cannon, and I was a clown in the Cole Brothers circus.
Wow.
And, this chick says hi, and I say hi, and I fly back home. I leave the circus, and I come back home, and I start doing water tanks with her dad, going around the world, sandblasting water tanks, painting them. And here we are 15 years later, here we are. I'm doing your show. So everything is pretty weird, man. But definitely must credit 100% to my beautiful, loving, kind wife that took my teeth and peed on me, and that I love her. She's my redneck wife forever, and it's one of those things that I can't imagine life without her, man. I really cannot imagine life without her.
Hey, what about her, right? Come on.
Well, I got, as the guy said on that, how bless her heart, I hate to keep going back to the subject, but when Austin passed away, people try to console you. You know what I mean? They try to say, Jamie, I'm so sorry. A person says to me, Jamie, I'm so sorry to hear about your son. They said, but at least you got 6 more.
Wow.
Wow, that's what I said. Wow. They were not meaning that in no bad way whatsoever.
Right.
But the way that came out, I just began to laugh, and I thought, I wonder if they ever read that back to themselves. What at least you got 6 more. I mean, yeah, hell yeah. I mean, hell, 6 more. That's great. I mean, I was like, bless their heart. You know, they're just, sometimes you don't know what to say to people, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's like saying you lose a finger and you got 9 more. I mean, you still miss that finger, you know? And I would never compare your son to a finger. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, what are you comparing him to a finger?
Right, exactly. I mean,
but that's what I mean. But people, it's just in life, sometimes I know this person, I know him, I've known him for 20 or 30 years. Like I said, we wrestled in the same building every week. Those wrestling fans not only become, they are your survival, but not only that, they are your family, man. Right. They are these people that listen, they love you as much as they hate you in the entertainment world, but also many people have fed me, clothed me, took me in when nobody else would. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the wrestling world is definitely, it's a clique, and that's what's wrong. It's not a clique no more. Nobody really knows nobody. The fans don't really know the guys. Like I said, it's just, but everything changes. You know, my dad's generation before ours said we killed wrestling because me and Wolfie wore shorts and we had tape on our wrist.
I've heard your dad say it a couple of times. Oh, they're killing the business. This is the shits.
My dad told my son, I'm taking him Austin again. Austin was like 5, and he said, he put some tape on his wrist, and he came into the dressing room, and my daddy said, "What are you doing with that tape on your wrist, boy?" He said, "I'm a wrestler." He said, No. Real wrestlers don't wear tape. Only shitty wrestlers. He goes, "Daddy, are you a shitty wrestler?" And I go, "No, I'm not a shitty." He said, "Pop said you was because you wear tape." And I said, "Yeah, but Pop said this big hat right here killed Memphis, too. You know that big tall hat I wore?" I said, "He kicked my ass." So he ended up wearing a little top hat, managing Steven Regal, looking like Jiminy Cricket. So I'm like, you know, that's what killed Memphis. Bill Dundee looked like Jiminy Cricket.
What do you think did kill Memphis, honestly? Was it Larry Burton? Was it
Presley?
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
What killed Memphis wrestling?
Yeah.
Was when you let the outside world in, no matter what it is, it kills it. It killed magic. It killed the circus. It killed the mafia. It killed when everybody. You let everybody in, because, listen, everything ain't for everybody. When you let everybody in, you definitely shut it down and kill it no matter what it is.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? No matter what it is. If you got a barbecue place and you're kicking ass in barbecue in your town, and you let 2 other dudes come in and they're your cousin and your brother, and they go over there and open another barbecue stand because you want to keep expanding, what you did was you see what I'm saying? Too much of everything. Like I said, the mafia style world. Once the mafia, Johnny the Bull Gravano and all them started getting on the cover of Time magazine and all that shit, that's it. It's over. Once you let everybody in, you kill it no matter what it is, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
And that's what killed Memphis.
Yeah. Jared, you got something?
Earlier, you were talking about Bobby Eaton, and, you know, I've always wondered, like, what do you think? Or like, I always wonder what people think. What do you think was the better Midnight Express? Do you think it was Bobby and Stan or Bobby and Dennis?
Definitely Bobby and Dennis.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Now listen, Stan Lane, it credited Bobby, you know, because Stan was a fabulous one. And let me tell you something. Steve and Stan were over like Rover, bro. You know what I mean? But like anything, we as the star or the whatever you want to call it, we think we're bigger than the show. And nobody and nothing is bigger than the show. The show will go on without you. I don't care who you are and what show it is. It will go on without you because the show is what makes. And so what happened, Steve and Stan and them, they walked out. This is no shit. In 1980 something, when they left this company, they walked out making $2,000 a week, which is huge money. You know what I mean? In the 80s. Huge money. Jimmy Carter just got done being president. Ronald Reagan just took back over. The world's in a recession. I mean, it was damn near as bad as like this idiot running the country now. Same thing. They walked out making $2,000 a week, and then they probably made another $2,000 a week in pictures and T-shirts and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they wanted more money, so they walked out and never, knock on, I'm sorry to say, but the truth's the truth, never made another nickel in the wrestling business.
Yeah.
Because they thought they were bigger and better than the show. And nobody is bigger and better than the show, no matter what the show is. Because it's been going on long before we got here, and it will still be going on long after we're gone, no matter what the show is. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so Stan Lane, when he went with Bobby, he was good looking, he was young, but if you watch it, Bobby does all the work because Stan probably thinks he's still Stan the Fab and he don't have to, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Bobby and Dennis, once again, though, they did it for the love of the business, not for the money in the contracts.
Yeah.
You can see the difference in that. When you watch them, they would have done it for free. Stan and Bobby, Stan credited Bobby. They looked good together. They were a good-looking team. But once again, Bobby carried the whole load, did all the work, and Stan was just there. You know what I mean? And Bobby could have wrestled a broomstick by himself and drew money with it.
Amen.
Because he was a wrestlenologist. He was just and what a humble, kind. The world lost something when they lost Bobby Eaton.
Amen.
Like Bobby Eaton, this world would be a great place to be, man.
That is sincerely and absolutely correct. I want to kind of go in a different direction. I love Bobby, by the way. I knew him just a little bit, and he did a lot for me when I got my little foot in the business.
Bobby, that's all you have to know, Bobby. Those that really met Bobby was just such a good person, man. That he never forgot where he came from. He came from Huntsville, Alabama, in the projects. A little white boy living in the projects in Huntsville. He had to fight. A lot. But when he got money and he got rich and he would go back to Huntsville to see his mama Dorothy, he would give every little kid in that hood $1, $2, $5, ice cream, whatever. Bobby was just, because Bobby never forgot where Bobby came from,
Yeah.
And that's what separates those that are and those that ain't. Kind of like The Rock. The Rock never forgot where he came from. He grew up poor. His daddy was Rocky Johnson. He grew up, but he just gave that damn UFC fighter a house the other day. Y'all see, he gave Downtown Bruno a truck because he didn't forget Downtown Bruno gave him $400 when he had nothing to buy him a car. Shit like that. That's some real shit, man. I don't care who it is, what it is. That is real shit, man. For somebody to do something like that. Kid was sleeping in the gym, came from Africa to chase a dream, and The Rock saw that and bought that brother a house. Now, we all know it's a tax write-off, whatever it may be, but he did it because that dude, that's such a kind person, man, That dude really is just, I don't know, that dude is one of the best on our planet, the highest paid dude in the world, and of course, Jamie Dundee's dumbass has to call him the N-word. Jesus, what's wrong with me, man?
Mistakes are made.
But it is what it is. I said it. I can't take it back. But I've already said on many videos, interviews, the reason I said it, I was a drunk. I was on drugs. I knew my career was ending. I was jealous. And here's another thing. It got a lot of views and sold a lot of DVDs, so that's what we were there to do. So I don't know, but it is what it is. But like I say, not that he gives a what I say, but one day I'll have to see him again because we're from the same world, and I will tell him like I tell everybody, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Because if you put a picture of him in a magazine and a picture of me next to it, said which one of these is the N-word, they would all vote for me. Guarantee not one person would say, well, that's The Rock. It's that other great redneck mother right there is. So it is what it is.
Right.
But I do truly, from the bottom of my heart, I apologize because it bothers me. I said it just because he never did nothing to me but be my friend. We were little kids growing up together. He never ever, there was no reason for me to ever say that about him except I was mad, drunk, and jealous.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And so it is what it is. Now, listen, I didn't make the word up, and I learned it in America. I said learned with a T. I learned. I learned that in America, too.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is, it is what it is. I said it, but can't take it back. It was me, but I apologize because I didn't say it because for no other reason except I was mad. He was moving on and I wasn't.
Right. Yeah. So, we're kind of getting to the end of our time, man. It's flown by as it always does. But, I want to ask you, we become friends with these guys a little bit, and especially Scott Spade and getting to know,
I love me Scott Spade.
So talk about your time running up there to POW and working in Chicago with Scott and all those guys.
Let me tell you something, man. That was right at the end of where I knew my wrestling career was over and I was done. And the guy that actually trained Wolfie, Rick Reynolds, he came to me. He said, Jamie, I got a place you need to go. Yeah, I guess he just, Rick's known me a long time. I love me some Rick Reynolds.
Thanks the world of you too, So.
Yes, I'm listening. That's my buddy, man. But he, he said, I want you to go to this place with me. He said, we're going to get you $100, but whatever. Money's really irrelevant to me, especially in a place like that, because what Jimmy Blaze did for me, I could never, ever repay back. I could never, ever thank them or tell them enough. They showed me. That was when I just first started quitting doing drugs, and I knew I couldn't be around the wrestling world. And Rick Reynolds said, "Come on, I want to take you to this place, man. You're really gonna like it." And so I went up there with my boy Buzzed Up and Shane Morton, my Tennessee guys, and I rode in the truck. We went all the way up there, and when I met Scott Spade and all them people, bro, I don't know, that it changed my view and my way of the wrestling business, of life. It really did. It saved my life, man.
That's awesome.
To go up there, really did. To go up there and see them people and know that I could do the wrestling business without the drugs and the bullshit, and really have a good time and enjoy it and do it. Once again, I did it for the love of my business that I hadn't done for a long, long time,
Right.
And Scott Spade's beautiful wife, thanks to Jamie Dundee, they are married with some beautiful children that came to my wedding. Everything happens for a reason. I believe that 100%. And I met those people up there, Mr. Riccolo, Mom Stoley, the two clowns. I met them people up there, and they really did show me that life is it's what you get out of it, what you put into it. Yeah. And me just being, crazy old Dundee, and everybody tell me how great you are in life, and you begin to believe all that bullshit.
Right.
And I got to go up there, and I got to see the wrestling world as a business and as a family and as friends, instead of the wrestling world where, can't wait to get your spot, can't wait to tell on you, digging you into, stabbing you in the back. Everybody up there was a family. They did it together. They did it as one. And like I've always said, Jimmy Blaze saved my life, whether he ever knew it or not. Pal, where superheroes come to life, bro. That ain't no bullshit. I can never ever thank all those people enough, and I hope that they know how much that they really did help save my life, man. And
that's
for real,
awesome.
and so they let me live in their home, and they treated me like one of their own kids. Mr. Riccolo did, and Mom Stoley, and they are truly my family. I used to send them messages to say, "Can I change my name to Stolzman?" Because that's Mr. Riccolo, and then realize Bill is my dad. He didn't do good, but I really like the way y'all parent up there, and I'd like to come on up there and y'all can ground me or whatever. It ain't bad to be grounded in a big old huge house with anything you get to eat or drink, and it was nice.
Yeah, no doubt.
But Scott Spade and all I learned a lot. In the South, as kids, we can't wait to get out of the house. That is our dream. When we were kids, we can't wait to turn 18 so we can get out of our mom and daddy's house and we can do whatever it is we want to do. Yeah. In the North, man, it's like they're 25, 28. They still live it. It's like they stay a family until it's time for them to leave the nest.
Right.
In the South, it's kind of like mom and daddy. I can't wait to get out of it. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It was something. It really did honestly save my life, man. Because I don't know if Rick Reynolds wouldn't have took me up there, I don't know if I would have ever made it out of that period of life, really, because I was so down. I was going in and out of jail all the time. It's kind of like one of those, man, you know what I mean? I'm so tired of it. And I really wasn't trying, but that's what we as people and drug addicts do. I'm so tired of trying and nothing ever going right. No, really what I was so tired of is not having no drugs and not having, the fame and all that shit's leaving. And then I got to go up there and just, it was a beautiful thing, man. And I'll never be able to ever repay those people. And I hope they know that.
They love you to death, man. From the ones I've spoken with, and I know I talk to Rick about once a week, and man, Rick loves you to death, man. And he's like, when you gonna get that Jamie on the podcast? I'm like, we're working it out, man. We're working it out.
Well, you would listen. Next time you talk to Rick, you say Jamie Dundee told everybody about the girl's ass prints on the front of the cop car. Just say that to him, and he can carry on with the story if he wants. But but tell him that's one of my greatest stories is ass prints on the front of a cop car. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay,
the story continues. Then I love that.
Yes, sure enough. Because if you want to know the answer, you gotta talk to Rick.
Okay, I love that. Jared, you got the last one, brother. Take it.
All right, Jamie. So this is a question I always like to end with. If you can look back on your career and think, man, that was my favorite match I ever had, what would it be?
Bar none. Now I'm gonna put. It's got to be two, because the first one the first one has to be when the Rock and Roll Express put me and Wolfie over in Louisville Gardens.
Oh man, that's a great
but
match.
That definitely sent us to the next level. And plus, those were my heroes, man.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right,
That
right.
Unbelievable. And the people, the way they popped and shit was just, it was like, wow, man, they really did believe we could do it. You know, whether they know it's a work or not or whatever. What they don't realize in our world is for somebody to put you over, it's hard to, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to be like, I ain't putting it over. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing that for these. You know, he's kind of like when Andre did it for Hogan. You know, that takes a lot to get you. People don't even understand that part, but it's a respect thing. You got to earn that to be able to be put over by so-and-so. You know what I mean?
Right.
So bar none, when the Rock and Roll Express put PG-13 over, and then the one that's right there with it is WrestleMania semi-main event against the Road Warriors in Chicago. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
It don't get no better than that, baby. Like I said, like I've said a million times, they told us to take the double clothesline, hit the mat, and roll out. And Wolfie rolls out, and I stay in the ring. And that one comes by, and he goes, "Roll, Dundee." And I go, "No way, brother. I'm never going to be on WrestleMania again. They going to come and get me. I'm going to get my time." He said, "Good shit, brother."
Right. Yeah. Every time I point out, every time I want to prove how smart PG-13 was, I always go to the 97 Royal Rumble match where you and Wolfie came out with every guy from the nation, and y'all always knew where the camera was. It's magic.
That's great, because Wolfie said to me, "How in the are you in every shot?"
Yeah.
And I said, in the building, they had them big Trons up on the walls, right?
Yeah.
And every time I would stand at the turnbuckle, I would watch the Tron, and when it swapped to the camera, I'd run around to that other turnbuckle because I knew
it's a work of art. It's a work of art.
Yeah, because I knew I'm going to get my time on this TV, because you don't know how long you're going to be there. You don't know none of that, but I know this is the top of the world, mama.
Right.
This is what we did, just like Super Bowl of football. This is what everybody on our planet that's ever put on a pair of boots wants to do a WrestleMania. I always said I want four things. I want to be in a magazine. I want to be walk the aisle of the Madison Square Gardens. I want to be on WrestleMania, and I want an action figure. And by God, a little 165-pound hell-raising did it my way, mother. I got all of them. So, you know what? For all the critics, kiss my ass. And for those that know me, you know that I earned it, by God.
Yeah, amen. Well, you know, speaking of that, yeah, it is a great answer. I think those are great matches. But speaking of that, we are going to get action figures taken. I promise by 2024, by the end of 2024, hopefully something will be in the pipeline for actual professionally made by a major company action figures. Some way, somehow, we're going to figure it out. Okay, so
that is great with me, brother. And you know what? I ain't even mad if you put Wolfie with me.
well, that's the goal. But you know, either way, we'll get it figured out. But there's been a lot of interest, and I think I just needed to know that you're cool with it and Wolfie's cool with it. So once that happens, hopefully we'll have some action figures very soon. So.
Well, by God, I'm so cool with it that the first one they make, they ain't even got to pay me. But all the rest of them they make, I want a little money from them. But the first one, they ain't even got to pay me for it. They can just send it to the house.
Well, the goal would be to get you some money. But all that Jared and I are asking is we don't want any money from it. We just want a free set of action figures. That's all we want.
Well, by God, let me tell you something. If you get that done, I'm going to give you 2 free sets of action figures. One you can keep and the other one you can play with. Because everybody wants to play with PG-13, baby.
Exactly. Oh man, Jamie, this has been amazing. You know,
thank you so much, man.
I mean,
Hey, brother, thank y'all, man. And you know what? The best part about it is, Jaden Starr said she wants an action figure of herself too, or I'm never doing another radio show for y'all again.
Okay,
well, she needs one.
She'll be the variant. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, we got you, girl. We'll take care of that too. But anyway,
it is. You heard it from the man right there. And listen, if it's 30 years from now, whatever. But we're gonna get you one before we leave the planet. I promise.
Right. That's the point. Yeah. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story, man. Thank you for talking about your son. I know that's not easy, but we just thank you so much for. Man, I just want to say this, Jamie. you are one of the most misunderstood wrestlers of all time, I think, because
don't kill my gimmick. Don't kill my gimmick, man. Damn.
No, but to know you is to love you, man. There's nothing about Jamie Dundee that if you don't know him, if you don't like him, you probably just don't know him, And
sure that, but that's me. If you don't like me, it's because you know JC Ice. Because I will tell you, those are two different people. Because JC Ice don't give a.
Right.
He, as Cat Williams said, he don't give a. And he don't care. He don't give a.
Right.
Jamie Dundee, I am a father, a grandfather. I cry at sad movies. Actually, I cry all the time. I don't know what that's about. But anyway, but JC Ice, that dude is definitely, that's why we keep him put away. We keep him locked up in the box. And, but also without that dude, I wouldn't be who I am. So, he is a part of who I am. But thank you for the compliment. And I appreciate that. And I try to live, like I said, I try to live a good karma type of life. I believe if you can go out here and do dirty shit and try to scam and connive, then bad shit comes back on you. But if you just go out here and try to do everything you think is right, because nobody says what's really right or wrong. People say it's wrong for me to teach my kids that I cuss and I did drugs. No, it's not, because that way they won't do it, hopefully.
Right, hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully. And if they do, there's nothing nobody can do about it, because all we can do as parents is guide. We can just give them guide and say, this is what you should do. Like I told my star baby, this is what you should do. But if she does the other thing, then the consequences you have to pay. You have to pay for what you do. You have to consequences. You have to pay the piper, and I don't care who you are.
Right. Yeah. No, that's true words. And honestly, I don't think there's anything else we need to say after that one. That's wrapping it up perfect. So once again, JC Ice, Jamie Dundee, whoever you are right now, thank you so much.
Jamie Dundee.
I know you are. And thank you for being on Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling. It's been an honor and a true privilege to have you on, brother. Thank you.
And you know what? By God, if they would just listen to what it's called, Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling, then Vince McMahon wouldn't be where he's at today.
Amen.
There you go. Have a good day, man.
Thank you, buddy.
You too, buddy.
Hey, Wolfie, kiss my ass. Bye, y'all.
Oh, my goodness.
Dude,
there's some clips in there.
Oh, man, it's chock full of them. All right, that was Jamie Dundee, y'all. And we're going to be right back to wrap things up with the Plastic Sheik on Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
This is your rock star ring announcer, Aaron Camaro. I'm a man who believes the two greatest art forms ever created are professional wrestling and heavy rock music. So when I'm not hosting the best parties that also happen to be live professional wrestling shows, I'm hosting the Decibel Geek Podcast. Decibel Geek is a weekly podcast that features discussions of all things rock. We're talking the Beatles, the Stones, Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix, Black Sabbath, Kiss, Ozzy, Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, Metallica, Alice in Chains, Pantera, and everything in between. Plus, we'll turn you on to new bands from today that have the same spirit and style that the legends do. Decibel Geek is hosted by myself, along with Rockin' Pod founder Chris Sinzak, and each week you'll get interviews with famous musicians and industry insiders, along with informative, entertaining, humorous, and insightful discussions, and most importantly, a passion for the music. So if you love to rock out as much as I do, then this is your invitation to the greatest rock and roll party in all of podcasting. It's Decibel Geek, and it's available right now on all major podcast platforms. Oh yeah.
Hey everyone, this is Shane from Insane Shane's World. I release wrestling figures of enhancement talent, mid-card wrestlers, and wrestlers that you never thought would have a figure available. So if you're interested in adding a really cool and rare figure to your collection, then don't hesitate to contact me at shamtheman73@gmail.com. That's SHAMtheman73@gmail.com. You can also join my Facebook group. Just search Insane Shane's World.
Oh, Sheik, one more excellent episode. Mr. Jamie Dundee, the Iceman. Wow. I mean, I hope y'all got all that, because that man was spitting from his soul. He was talking about everything, and he's very passionate. You know, he talked about the passing of his son, which is, you know, devastating for any man and for any parent, you know. And I mean, he just, you know, I hope y'all took notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was honestly, you know, I've seen stuff with Jamie on and listened to, of course, the Wolfie D podcast with him on there before. And, you know, that Jamie's a spirited guy, you know, he really is. And you get the, you know, the kind of emotion from him when he was talking about his son and everything like that. And it's so, you know, people don't expect that when you hear Jamie Dundee, no matter what. But, you know, he, like you said, if there's been any good out of it, it's brought, you know, his kids closer together. It's brought his, you know, family a little closer together. It's,
yeah.
So it was very touching to hear that. And then, you know, at the end when he was giving the stuff about, you know, mistakes he's made with, you know, saying stuff about The Rock and everything like that. I mean, I'm not just saying it because he said it on here. I really felt I thought it was genuineness. I mean, of what he meant when he was saying that. And
totally.
I would love to see one day him be able to bury the hatchet, and, you know, maybe it can happen. It would be great. And I just want to thank Jamie for a great episode, though.
Yeah, I know. We definitely want to thank him for a great episode and just a great conversation. I mean, definitely appreciate it. And, you know. Yeah. And we did a little bit different format sometimes than we do, and that's okay. We knew that Jamie is a talker. I mean, that's one of his specialties in the world of wrestling entertainment, you know, and entertaining people is he can talk. So we knew that we weren't going to have to ask some of the questions we always ask people, just because it was going to be, he can freestyle a little bit, so to say. Right. You know, he's great at that, and he's definitely great at the improv thing. But you know, when it comes down to it, you can always hear the words from your heart. You know, you can always tell when they're genuine, and I do believe that's how he feels now, and I'm happy for him if that's the case, man. And you know, I know we've got some good episodes planned in the future. Right now, I'm possibly George Weingroff. I'm feeling good about that one. Maybe somebody else than George, but either way, very soon we're going to have George on. But I do know, you know, we've got a lot of good opportunities that we're going to take full advantage of coming very soon. So y'all stay tuned with us. The best place to do that, as always, is at GMBMPW on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, you know, and just keep in touch with us there. That's a good place to find all the upcoming news for us. You know, we greatly appreciate all those that already do follow, but if you don't, make sure you're giving us a subscribe on YouTube. It means the world. Another thing, if you're not busy, go check out the Live and in Color with Wolfie D podcast. We recently had Tommy Young on the show. Keep your eyes peeled on what we've got coming up as well. Greatly appreciate everyone. You know, keep an eye out on, of course, always on Brian Turner's VHS Rehab on YouTube. Keep up with Nashville Wrestling Network, our homie, you know, Kroll. They've got some t-shirts coming up. He's going to start running shows very soon. So lots of cool things with them. You know, also always keep our boy Gene Jackson and the Main Event Comedy Crew in your feed. You know, great, funny, excellent wrestling, all kinds of cool stuff they're always doing over there. So we've got lots of cool friends in this game, and we've got lots of cool things coming up, and I think to say any more about any of it would cheat anything. So let's go ahead and wrap it up. Do you have anything else you'd like to say before we end this one?
No, I just want to thank you for all you do for the podcast, and thank the listeners for coming back and listening to us each episode. And we try to get better content every time we can. And we've had some amazing guests, and we're keeping them rolling.
Yeah. Well, thank you too, bro. And for Jamie Dundee, his daughter, Jaden Starr, who was a little surprise co-host on the show today.
Yeah, that's a perfect. She was a star in the background, I swear.
Absolutely. Yeah. She's a whole part of the show today, and it was awesome. For the Plastic Sheik, Jared Street, I'm Jimmy Street. And we'll see y'all next time on Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
Don't forget.
So Jamie requested we play a song since this show was dedicated to the memory of Austin Dundee. So this one's for you, Austin.
With a tear in my eye, this is the greatest moment in my life.
This has been a James Rock Street production.